It's weird that Baron Corbin tried to kill a guy last night. Oh, hey, how's it going, guys? Out there in TV land or whatever the hell they call it. Of course, you know what I'm referring to, and that's SmackDown, and we'll get to that review. But you are listening to another episode of Wrestling Geeks Alliance, the weekly show that me and Chris do, where we break down wrestling 2 times a week usually. It's fun stuff. We record it on Thursdays and Saturdays, so we hope to have it out right soon after that and give you guys some context and about us if you're new listeners. That's some good stuff. Go to our website at geekvibesnation.com. You'll find a bunch of news articles there that we do and a whole bunch of other stuff and ways to be able to listen to us on various audio platforms like YouTube, like iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, all the major ones, basically. So if you are a past listener, thank you guys for joining us once again to talk about some stuff. It's kind of a lighter, I would say, day, just because of the programs that we're about to talk about. But we do have, I would say, some crazy things going on right now with the WrestleMania card to talk about. But before we get to that, let me introduce my co-host, the brightest and most wonderful man with a beard, besides Macho Man Randy Savage back in the day. Christopher, Brother Ray Patton, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. I don't know if I can take brightest man with a beard. Those Duck Dynasty guys, they seem pretty good-hearted. Maybe they're the brightest and shiniest. I mean, they're all about family and ending the show by all eating dinner together and having a good prayer. I kind of wish that was a wrestling faction, to counteract the Wyatt family or something. The Duck Dynasty boys versus the Wyatts. I would see that.
I'll next year.
Yeah, might as well, right? All joking aside, man, I'm just sitting here in Gwinnett County lockdown. Everything is shut down. We are shut down, sir, officially as of today. So no leaving the house unless you got to go to the grocery store, the gas station, or apparently the liquor store. New York regulations. Essential shit. Very important. But all jokes aside, man, how was we just talked on Thursday. How was your Friday, I should say, instead of how was your week?
It was I worked. It's been very slow at the job. We have some new T-shirts that we're actually doing, sending them out to anyone that my boss came out with. So if you guys are interested, it says stay. I believe it says stay the fuck away from me, and it's got whatchamacallit, Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction on it. So I thought that was cool. I don't know if it's stay the fuck away from me, but it's bleeped out, so it doesn't actually say it. But it's pretty funny and reference, and it's a good concept. So check out PTS promotional, and you can find all that stuff on the website. So yeah, we're doing that. Might as well plug that, with the job, even though it's going to cause me to have to send individual shirts out to everywhere. In the,
hey man, it's better.
We got 50. I think he told me that we got several sales. So I'm like, oh, God damn it. All right, whatever. I don't have a lot to do at work anyway. So.
So I'm gonna have to buy one of these because I think I saw the screenshot for it on Facebook.
Let me look it up now that I'm talking about it. So I don't have the. I'm acting as if my boss Matt is listening, but
well, while we're doing shameless self plugs, do you guys do hockey jerseys? Because I have a hockey podcast named Skates to Throats. We're looking to do some fan jerseys, some fan hockey jerseys, or maybe even some t-shirt jerseys in the near future. We've got a couple different color schemes. We're probably going to throw it up on Twitter and Facebook for people to vote on which one they like best. Obviously, we have the classic Calgary Flames, Atlanta Flames, red and yellow, kind of like the old Atlanta Hawks. But yeah, if you guys do something like that, let's cross promotion.
Hey, usually we do a lot of big commercial stuff, but I'm sure we could work out whatever for that, especially since you know me and we do shows together. But I just sent you a picture, so it's a gray shirt, but I think we can do different colored shirts, and it says 6 feet, motherfucker, and the fucker part, if you will, is censored. So it's a great shirt. Like I said, if you guys want to check that out, shameless plugs. Go to PTS Promotional. search that on Google, find the website, and find the link, or find us on Facebook. And definitely check out Skates with Throats. And I'm glad that you guys are listening to Wrestling Geeks Alliance. Chris, we also have a hat that I didn't even know about that we're also selling. This is awesome. Matt is so brilliant. It says "Make America Well Again." That's like the most bipartisan hat that you could possibly have. You could use it for either side. That's awesome. Make America Well Again.
See, I like the ideas of these hats, but I don't think people read too well, just based on the current state of the toilet paper aisle. So I'm afraid if I put one of these gimmick hats on, someone will be like, "Oh, you Trump supporter." I'll be like, "It's a joke hat." And then I got to fight someone at my local restaurant or grocery store.
I had the Made You Look hat, the red, but the font said Made You Look. And everywhere I went, I got evil stares from people that, from observation, let me say, I could tell were either conservative or liberal, and just give me a death stare. And I'm like, did you actually read the fucking thing? It's a joke.
I mean, I know this isn't Monday Suck, but like, and not do a comparison to Hitler, but it's almost like the Buddhist symbol turned a little bit when you wear that hat, regardless of what's put on the front of it. It's just, if you just wear a red hat in general, you're probably going to get some shit. That's what I'm getting at.
Yep. Except for, we should bring back the old school Fred Durst red, New York Yankees hat, or whatever the fuck that was supposed to be, that he wore back in the day backwards. Are you down for that?
Oh, like that. Yeah, the red and blue from the Rollin' video, former theme song of Badass Inc., Mr. Undertaker.
Yeah, were you more of a fan of Rollin' for Undertaker or American Badass from Kid Rock? Because I'm actually an American Badass guy myself.
I was more into Rollin'. I just thought it hit harder with his entrance, but the American Badass song, I guess, fit more with the character.
So I just like when it came in where it was like, the dun 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 dun. I am American Badass. I just thought that was cool. It's actually gave me a boner.
I kind of always wish that he would have came out to Cowboy from Hell. So like in my little bed back in the day, that was my go-to Taker song when I would drive him out on the Titantron, which, by the way, full nerd, the biker mice from Mars. So when I had my little Taker figure, I would put him on one of the motorcycles from the biker mice Mars and roll him through the Titantron. Is this too much?
Oh man, just keep on going. It's great. We're off to an awesome start, but we're trying to fill in and have a good show. And I think that, especially the fact that we're re-recording now, I kind of talked to you about this beforehand, but we can do stuff like this. We can take our time and enjoy ourselves, not have to be bundled up by the topics we got to talk about, which is a hell of a lot more fun, I would say.
Yep. Well, I mean, maybe we should actually get to it for the people that only come for us.
Shit.
For reviews and shit.
Yeah, you guys out there, I'm sorry, but hey, I'm hoping that you like our antics, and that's why you listen to us. So, all right, let's start things off. We got a couple things to talk about. Let's go back. Actually, no, let's dive right into this, Chris. So we got release information about 2 days ago, I believe, on Thursday, that Roman Reigns was actually pulling out from WrestleMania due to the fact that he has a compromised immune system because he's, just got over leukemia, and his doctors and him and his family just don't think it's a good idea. Ryan Satin broke that on Pro Wrestling Sheet, and they have made accommodations. We'll talk about the new card. There's been a couple other, it's kind of scary, but like sicknesses, they're just trying to make sure that if anyone has a cold or whatever, that they're not there. I mean, they have to be like this. And from what Stephanie said recently in an article, it seems like they're actually trying to keep up and do everything they can to be able to have these performers wrestling. And there's a lot of people out there in wrestling journalism, and I've heard Dave Metzler talk about it, that's not too cool with Vince, even Tony, or Dana White for that matter. Actually, Dana said some pretty nasty shit recently, but we're not going to get into that. Big props to John Jones, by the way, for fucking, never mind, I'm not gonna even go into that. Just thought about what UFC. Anyways, but for the concept of, it's a very hard thing to make sure nothing happens when we're supposed to not be within contact of each other, and we're still doing that, especially with the two wrestlers themselves in the ring the most. And I get that, but with Roman, I think it makes sense. I think that if that's how he feels, if that's how his doctors feel, that's probably the smartest thing to do. And maybe we'll get him and Goldberg in the future. I don't really give a shit, but he has been replaced. And I'll pass it to you, but I'm just going to warn you guys: if you don't want to hear some of the changes to the WrestleMania card itself, not the results of the winners or anything like that, but any changes they had to do, I'd tune out and fast forward probably about 10 minutes from now maybe, and we'll probably be done talking about it. But this is news. We gotta cover it. Chris, how do you feel about Roman Reigns stepping down from this WrestleMania?
I have absolutely no problem with it. It's the same thing as people not wanting to go to Saudi Arabia to some extent. Obviously, weakened immune system, different scenario. But if you don't want to work for a specific reason, whether it's health or whether it's religious, in the essence of Sami Zayn, or just the fact that you're a little scared for your life, like Kevin Owens, etc., I think that you should take this time for yourself. I doubt Vince McMahon's holding any of these wrestlers at gunpoint. I think that, to me, even looking at it from the AEW side, in Cody's promo, it seems like they feel like they're helping by giving you something to distract yourself. The same way we do this podcast, or the same way you see all the Facebook Live acoustic sets and things people are doing, just to try to distract people from not having sports, not having being able to go out and go to a show, or go see a wrestling, or go see a movie, etc. So to some extent, I almost think we've talked about this before. It's not like 9/11, but that Vince McMahon promo where he's like, this shit's going to keep rolling. We're here to entertain you. Let's try to put this out of our mind. To me, the wrestling aspect of this has a little bit of that. And also, I didn't hear Meltzer's talk on this, but if he also didn't shit on New Japan and Stardom for starting back up very soon, it's one of those things where it's also fucking coin. I guess Japan matters more. So not to shit on Dave.
No, and I will say in reference to that, he's been a hell of a lot. I've heard him make statements directly about WWE, and especially, I'm not going to bring up the Dana comments, but basically he went off on a reporter and said he doesn't give a shit about what the fucking media thinks. He's going to have these going on if the fighters want to do it, and he fucking was very abrupt and aggressive, and it was coming off a question of being worried about the fighters' health, and so that he was referencing that, but also throwing in Vince, but. He's made a comment about Tony, but he's even been pretty lax about Tony with AEW, which, the one thing I didn't get, Chris, we didn't talk about this with AEW, is why, if they're not going to put them, further apart in the audience, why they crammed them in a room together. I thought that was kind of a weird way of doing that, but that's no, throw at AEW or anything like that. But I think everyone's trying to provide entertainment, like you said, and I think I think everyone's taking steps, I would assume, to make sure that the competitors themselves are, taken care of, especially with the changes that we're about to go over with the card itself for WrestleMania. But I'm sure a lot of people are giving shit to whatever company for doing it.
I mean, well, to some extent, Vince McMahon canceled his first WrestleMania ever since the inception of WrestleMania. And from what we know, a lot of it is pre-recorded. So you're only talking about two people working at a time. So there's a little bit of props to Vince for that. And AEW, they've consistently put on good entertainment. Like I said, there's a very big lack of sports and a lot of other things outside of just pre-recorded shows or Netflix. There's only so many times you can watch that Tiger King documentary. I think I'm on the second time already. So
is that the one with Michael P.S. Hayes?
Yeah, Michael P.S. Hayes, the Freebird himself. Dude. So great. No, to me, I think I didn't hear the Dana White comments. I don't want to spend too much talking about it, but Dana White says fucked up shit all the time and just kind of gets a pass because people love UFC. I think he's this even goes back to his feud with was the Golden Boy. God, what is his fucking name? You hate him. Blonde hair, Tito Ortiz. This even goes back to the Tito Ortiz days with some of the things that Dana has said publicly about fighters and media.
Tito's a good heel, man.
That's is.
Hatred. That's more the hatred. I don't hate him because I think he's a fuck. Like, I hate Josh Koscheck. Like, he was a great fighter, but he was a complete dickbag. I knew that Tito was putting on more of a performance than anything else, or at least maybe that's what I gave him credit for.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this isn't the first time that Dana White's came out and said something kind of fucked up and shitty. Like, even,
I just want to talk shit about Josh Koscheck.
So, I think they're very hard to lump together. And if anything, Dana's probably really upset because he's losing a lot of money. Like, a lot of money. Because the thing about wrestling is, as wrestling has proved, you can do empty arena shows, but like we saw that empty arena UFC fight. It's just fucking weird, man. Like, really, really weird. It's almost like watching a torture porn or some kind of weird shit like that, just because you see two guys beating the ever loving shit out of each other. And it kind of makes you think in the back of your head, like, why are they doing this? Whereas like wrestling, they beat the ever loving shit out of each other, but like the idea is to keep each other safe. Whereas in UFC, you're literally trying to kill the other guy. So yep. I'm sure there's just Dana's a little pissed about that and probably just got asked the wrong question on the wrong day. And like I said, he's never been shy about going the fuck off when he feels like he needs to go the fuck off, basically. But yeah, lumping in AEW and WWE for what they're trying to do and accomplish. Like I said, I think Cody's promo kind of summed it up best. Like, hey, look, we're here. We're still going to do the same thing. We're trying to provide entertainment for you guys. Stay at home. Be safe. Don't try to do what we're doing, but like watch and enjoy it, which is what I took from that promo, even the Kenny Omega segment. And I feel like, WWE is trying to do the same thing to some extent.
All right, man. I'm sorry. We're going to come right back to this, but I at least have to get a little bit of words from you since we didn't talk about it. We brought up UFC. I wasn't trying to go in this direction, but John Jones, fucking, once again, DWI and found with of some type of gun. I think it was a pistol, not registered in his name. What the fuck? The heavyweight champion, or the light heavyweight champion? Is it light heavyweight or heavyweight, Chris? Is it heavyweight?
Light heavyweight.
Regardless, arguably statistically one of the best fighters in mixed martial arts history. And why is he one of the greatest athletes that has gotten, in the way of himself and all of his glory? I just don't fucking understand it, man. Really, really puzzles me.
Here's a really good question. Why do people bury Brock Lesnar for testing positive, but not Bones Jones? And then also Bones Jones is also an asshole outside of the ring.
I don't know, man. It's just so fucking I completely agree with you, though, because that's a good point. I don't know if it's because he's the pro wrestler guy. It's like, whatever, dude. He was also the wrestler guy before that, if you actually know anything about NCAA fucking wrestling and shit. But
I don't know. Let me quickly synopsis. Like, to me, the Bones Jones thing is absolutely crazy to me. This guy has had so many opportunities to make so much money and be this great fighter and live up to what his potential actually was. But he's almost wasted almost 2 to 3 years of his career off weird substance like cocaine at one point, and then like testing positive for some sort of performance enhancing drug, which, like, as we've talked about in the past, is now it's scaled back even further than it was when he tested positive for it. So it's a weird fucking thing. It's just such a weird thing because this guy he may be the greatest UFC fighter of all time when he was in his prime, but we'll never know where he actually got to, because like, you gotta think he's gonna get some jail time for this. Like, whether it's 3 months, 4 months. And as we learned from like Mike Tyson, for instance, you just can't train the same way. You're not going to come out of that the same. His last fight, he didn't look great in. Some people even had him losing a couple rounds. I think it's pretty much, I think pretty much writing on the wall, like, he's not the Bones Jones anymore, which is surprising. If you'd have told me that Bones Jones coming off of all that shit back to the ring was going to be less impressive than Conor McGregor, I would have told you were full of shit like 6 months ago.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. Wow. Way to analyze something, I should say. And speaking of Dana White, wanting to punch himself in the face with a brick, I'm sure this information coming out really didn't help things. My two questions to you to kind of like, get us back on topic. Last things about Bones Jones. Do you think that UFC is going to strip him, and do you think he'll ever come back, or is Dana, he said last time that was fucking it, or is he going to realize like that's one of my stars, I still have to fucking utilize him, and really when it comes down to it, like, is there any other athlete you can think of that did this? Like, even Mike Tyson was kind of getting out of his prime when he started doing some really stupid shit. And it was probably because of what happened right before it, But John, he destroyed part of his prime fucking up like this. It's crazy, man. I've never seen an athlete get in the way of himself like this. And I don't know a lot about other sports, so maybe I shouldn't really try to pretend outside of UFC and boxing, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, one of the comparisons I drew the other day when we were talking about this, because I think we were going to actually talk about this on Thursday and we just fucking missed it, but was Brandon Marshall for the New York Jets. He got signed, big wide receiver deal. Sorry, I cut out for a second. Big wide receiver deal, and I think he accidentally shot himself in a nightclub with basically an unregistered firearm, and then went to jail and missed a season, one from injury plus jail time, etc. Basically missed a full season. But he was on track to be one of the best receivers in the league at that time. So it was a huge signing for the Jets. So that's one that comes to mind right off the bat as someone kind of fucking themselves in their prime. But I don't think he wasn't to the same extent as like Bones Jones in UFC. Like he was primed to be one of the best, and he's a great receiver and may even make the Hall of Fame at some point. But like Bones Jones was considered the best fighter the UFC had ever seen. And somehow just continuously got in his own way, which is it's insane. And like, Floyd Mayweather did a lot of stupid shit, but he always found a way out of it to continue fighting. If he would have gotten actually something pinned on him and like went to jail, that would probably be the comparison you could draw, but nothing ever really stuck to that guy.
Yeah, man, and it just to wrap up, it just sucks because besides just being so incredible by himself and ruining his own legacy, UFC doesn't have a lot of stars anymore. Ronda's done. They've got a couple females that are, Amanda Nunes, obviously, that are doing well within the women's division, but she was someone that brought eyes to the product. McGregor's back, but he's gonna have a limited schedule. They kind of have Khabib as a big name, but he's more of a dominant fighter than I think. Well, maybe over in his country, there's a little bit of difference, and But I'm just saying, as far as stars, John Jones was one of the last big names. They're trying to make Israel one of them, but his last fight kind of proved a little bit differently, at least in the fans' eyes, both him and the competitor that he went against. So it just sucks. And I hope he gets back on track. I think that's the only thing I can say, and just quit fucking getting in his own way. So, anyways, let's get back.
I guess. That. Well, just one quick question. Even if he comes back, let's say he's out for 6 months, based on that last fight, do you think that he's just going to get toppled?
I don't know, man. But the thing is, you would think realistically, as a punishment, he should have to kind of come back up through the ranks, but they would probably put him right at the top. And if they do that, yeah, I think someone's going to fucking knock him on his ass. I think that almost happened last time, but someone almost exposed him. Someone almost, finally got to him, and he was able to come back, and they gave it to him in the favor, which I thought the ruling was a little bit ridiculous. We already talked about that. But, so yeah, I think someone would knock on. They're going to put him back in the spotlight. People are going to get pissed, rightfully so, because he fucked up and he should probably go back a peg. But then again, John Jones probably will maul through people that are, lesser in the ranks. But once he gets there, man, doesn't matter. Someone will fucking hit him, and he will be done.
Yeah, I will say right now, probably to me, the best fighter in the UFC, at least in their division, is Amanda Nunes. She's just been absolutely fucking wrecking people. So all of her fights are fun to watch. If we're talking positively about the UFC, and I am very much interested in the next Conor fight. So, yeah, one of the questions you posed, which I kind of skipped around, didn't answer, was, do you think Bones Jones will come back? And the answer to that is, fuck yeah. I mean, Dana White can still make money, and the guy can still put on a good fight. The only way Dana's going to put someone out to pasture, so to speak, is if it gets to like the Chuck Liddell where he's getting knocked out in like 30 seconds in the first round 3 or 4 times in a row. I mean, we've just seen that, and as far as how Dana kind of judges his fighters.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's just crazy in retrospect. I would say that if you guys want to go see a fellow fighter and one of his training partners, go see what Diego Sanchez had to say about it. Pretty pissed about the fact that, once again, this has happened. Anyways, let's get back to what we were talking about. So, yeah, Dave Metzler let us know on The Last Observer, I believe, that basically the card has been changed, that Roman Reigns was not the only person that was sick, that's having to duck out of WrestleMania, that they're finishing filming this weekend, or trying to, I would assume. According to Metzler, this is, quote, "The WrestleMania card has also changed. Names are being kept confidential because but it's been confirmed that multiple people on the card either said they were sick, which meant instantly being pulled off all the shows for that week. There were others that did not feel sick but had fevers over 100.4, which was the WWE's cutoff point, not allowing people to work. And people, wow, this is really hard to keep on doing. And others who, on their own, said they didn't feel comfortable flying in. Both AEW and WWE had told people that if they don't want to come, they don't have to come, and that is a decision made now, won't be held against them when it comes to future booking. And so we already talked about Rey Mysterio being out, Dana Brooke being taken out of that match just because they both had a cold. Bobby Lashley is on quarantine because he was in another country, so he's taken out of his match with Aleister Black. I don't know who they're going to have place. I don't know who they're going to have in place, or maybe they'll just take Aleister off it because maybe we just don't need an extra match, which I would feel bad for him. But hey, Buddy Murphy, like I said, they put on fucking amazing matches. And then The Miz is sick, so there also is that. All of them are just showing basically like a normal cold, but they don't want to take any chances, and I get that. So they've had to rearrange some of the matches. And we'll go over the new card. This is the new WrestleMania card. Some of them are exactly the same. We have Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title match, going against Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg. It's Braun Strowman. So that means either a very good, very WWE-ish, since they're filming right now. And probably going to have a stop date, I'm assuming, and take a break because Orlando's shutting down. They won't have the Performance Center for a little while. I'm assuming they're going to keep it on fucking Bill. I would hope that they would just say fuck it and just finally give Braun the title, but it kind of proves that he's the Big Show. But then again, I would be happy for, even though his comments recently about indie wrestlers and all that bullshit that happened online, whatever. I would be happy for Braun if he got the title. It's just like 3 years too late. Then NXT Women's, still Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. The Raw Women's title match, Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch. Fatal 5-way elimination match for the SmackDown Women's title. You got Lacey Evans, Sasha Banks, Naomi, Tamina Snuka, and Bayley. That was set up on SmackDown. The Raw Tag Team title match. Angel Garza, since Andrade was one of the other guys pulled. I guess I missed that on the other page. So Angel Garza is now going to be teaming with Chris Austin Theory for some reason to go against the Street Profits. Big ups on Austin Theory taking advantage of the fact he lives in Orlando. He probably told him, I'll do whatever. And they were like, all right, well, we're going to fucking just, after his loss to Tyler Breeze, give him a tag team title championship match. That makes me think that Street Profits are probably going over on that one, but that should be a good match. We have the Intercontinental because of what happened last night. Sami Zayn will be going against Daniel Bryan. Ladder match for the SmackDown tag team titles. This one's really weird because it's supposed to be one of the Usos going against John Morrison, and he doesn't have the Miz now, so I don't know if they're doing a single for the SmackDown tag team titles. This is what's listed from Wrestling Inc. This is so it. I have no idea, but apparently the New Day is not going to be involved, and Miz is sick. So yeah, and then the WWE Women's Tag Team match: Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss against Asuka and Kairi Sane. There's so many fucking matches. Edge versus Randy Orton, Taker versus AJ Styles, John Cena versus The Fiend, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, Elias versus Baron Corbin. We don't know who the replacement is against Aleister Black, and Otis is going against Dolph Ziggler. All right, I'm going to send this to you, Chris, right now, because I forgot to.
I got it pulled up. You said Wrestling Inc., right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going off the same thing. Shit. I mean, yeah. I guess the big surprise is the Goldberg opponent to me. Going with Braun, I feel like they're just going to keep it on Goldberg, right? There's no sense of putting it on Braun. He's already the IC champion. He's still IC champion, unless I'm crazy. No, he's not.
No, remember
Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
he lost Sami Zayn. That's right. Man, they missed such an opportunity with him, and I don't think the fans are behind him the same way anymore. And I just don't see them pulling that off of Goldberg and then going down the route of Roman versus Braun again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just being honest. I mean, because they're filming it, and you have two big ass hosses like Goldberg and Braun. If they go that route, if they decide to film it and not do like a live actual match, that shit could be really good though. If you play to everyone's strengths, if Paul Heyman's involved like he was with the Brock Goldberg match, two big hosses, I think that could be a really, really good match. I mean, still a standout to me on this card. Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn, that's one. That's going to be absolute fucking banger. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, I think, will be an incredible match. And I think Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar is going to be great. And then to me, the one that we're all looking forward to is that last man standing match, which I think will easily be the highlight of Mania. It's crazy that the New Day is not going to be in this ladder match because now, and I don't know if we've ever had this. Have we ever had just two tag teams in a ladder match, or are they going to change that? Or did they just
we don't even know,
kibosh it altogether?
I'm so confused if someone from the New Day is also sick, and that's the reason why they're not involved. And also, they're making it sound like a singles match because who the fuck is John Morrison going to defend the titles with if Miz is not there? I don't get it.
Maybe Kofi versus John Morrison in a ladders match. We just channeled it.
Maybe like a singles of each one of them, and you get one of the Usos, you got Jimmy Uso, say, and Kofi and John Morrison. It'll be a singles ladder match for the tag team titles. That'd be so strange.
Or just a Money in the Bank type deal. Whoever wins gets a solo tag match.
Yeah. And John Morrison's trying to deflect it so they can't do it. Or something like that.
Because if he wins, no one can challenge them, right? Like you have to have another tag team. So you could spin it that way. And I mean, fucking John Morrison and Kofi and one of the Usos, like that'll be fucking incredible if they go that route. Austin Theory thing, I don't like. Don't like it. I'm glad he's out there getting put on this card, but he's there to eat a pin. Like I feel it just sucks because like
decent exposure.
I mean, I guess, and I get the taking your lumps in the WWE and NXT, but he lost to fucking Tyler Breeze, and now they're going to put him in this match, and he's going to eat a pin here from the Street Profits, who's just a Raw tag team, and you know how Vince feels about tag teams on Raw, so it's just fucking. I'm not. That. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have a good match. Austin Theory's really good.
Here's the question: what person can they put against Aleister Black if they want to keep that? Now that Bobby's out.
I mean, I think we're spot on. I like when you said Buddy Murphy on the last show. I think you're spot on. I think that's where you go. You have a great ass match between those two, or you just don't put him on the card. I mean, unless you're gonna have him just roundhouse kick the shit out of Gronkowski or something, but he's not really doing a heel turn. It's this weird tweener thing, I guess. I don't know. Maybe Cena gets murdered and Bray's taking it too far, and you slot that feud, which we know is the inevitable, which will be Aleister and The Fiend somehow, even though they're on separate rosters.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could see, Cena about to get murdered by Bray Wyatt, lights go out, Aleister Black fucking roundhouse kicks The Fiend and knocks him clean the fuck out.
They could always, and I mean, I would assume that this is a match, if they're going to keep it, that Aleister Black was going to go over Bobby Lashley. I think a lot of us assume that. But, I mean, they could just be like, well, I don't know. I don't know if he's stuck in Ireland. They could be like, hey, Finn, go against him. You don't even have to do the demon, but having Finn Balor going against Aleister Black in a badass match would probably be good. Then again, if you fucking make Finn lose, then that doesn't help him in NXT. But I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm spitballing here. I think Buddy Murphy's the safest route. I would say that. Or here, put him. Oh, never mind. I don't want to do that to Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins by making it a three-way. But I mean, if you really want to use them, you can use them.
I mean, Aleister Black versus those two in a three-way match would probably be really fucking good. Like, I'm not a huge fan of three-way matches, and I kind of am looking forward to Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and I hope they turn it up to like fucking 11, because I know those guys could easily have match of the night. I just don't expect it out of them. I don't know. Seth's just been kind of in a lull to me lately.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm a huge Seth fan.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, I love Tyler Black in Ring of Honor. And I loved his run. That Raw Gauntlet shit was very impressive. He looks great in that. But ever since then, he's just been kind of coasting along. In my opinion, as far as like putting out high quality matches and shit. I mean, not taking anything away.
I agree.
Seth's fucking incredible performer. So I don't know. Maybe Aleister being in there wouldn't be that bad of a thing. But then once again, maybe Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins turn it up to fucking 11 and blow our minds or some shit. It's possible. We don't know what the fuck we're going to get out of this thing, because they could have 5 minutes. They could have 25 minutes, just because it's split into 2 days and some of it's pre-recorded. Like, they're not trying to fit everyththing in live. I mean, we could just get a lot of like long formatted NXT type matches, which if so, that could be great for everyone involved.
Yeah, especially if they recorded a certain way and are not worried, like if they're doing takes basically. Because at that point, who gives a shit, to make it look cleaner? I mean, you're pre-recording it anyways. But another idea, last one for Aleister Black that I just like looked at and thought possibility. If you want to keep him on the card and not actually have him in a match, I mean, he was already a part of that thing going on with AJ Styles and Taker. You have whatever the Boneyard match. You have the club get involved. They start fucking over Taker, and then Aleister comes out and helps him out a bit, and just like he did. Returns the favor, and Taker gets his win over AJ Styles. And it, doesn't make AJ look weak because Aleister helps out Undertaker. Something like that.
I mean, that was like kind of rumored to begin with, is that it was going to be like a 3 versus 2 match, right? With Taker and Aleister versus. So, I mean, they could just do that, I guess. I mean, I don't think there's any fallout from that. Or maybe you do the Taker match and you come up with a reason to restart the match or whatever, and you give kind of people both so they don't feel like they got cheated. I don't know. There's cool ways around that. I'm excited to see what AJ Styles can do with Taker in a singles match, though, especially after that last Goldberg catastrophe in Saudi.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to a lot of these matches. The 2 last questions. Well, I mean, there's a lot of other matches we can go over, but I think a lot of the ones that haven't changed, we've already talked to them about them at length, and we've already talked about a lot of the changes. The 2 last things I would like to talk about: Otis going against Dolph Ziggler. I'm looking forward to that match. I think it's going to be fun. It's one of the things set up, I think, fairly well with their storyline. Obviously, there's going to be some type of interruption with Mandy. Maybe she goes full heel and screws him over, to kind of, and stays with Dolph. I could see something like that happening. I don't know. Or maybe Otis can get the girl. Maybe that's it. It's so dumb that I actually am into the storyline. And then Elias and King Corbin, Baron Corbin basically killed Elias last night, and they made it look like, we don't know if he's actually going to go against them. So do they make Gronk beat Baron Corbin in a match? Is that what they're trying to set up? I don't know. I mean, but that's definitely possible based on what happened last night.
Yeah, I mean, not that I think Corbin needs to get any heat or anything, but I wouldn't necessarily put Gronk over a wrestler in this show. Especially Corbin's like the top heel on SmackDown. As sad as that sounds, he is the top heel on SmackDown.
People hate him.
Yeah, I mean, people hate him. I don't necessarily. I mean, yes, you'll get the cheap pop for Gronk getting a win, but Corbin's taken a lot of losses recently. I don't know that would necessarily be the best idea, but I could easily see them doing something like that. Or you could, set up the match. It's Mojo versus Baron, and then Gronk just gets a tackle in afterwards or something and kicks his ass, and maybe they set something up in the future. But hopefully they don't just go with a straight Gronk versus Baron Corbin match.
Yeah.
I do have one question for you before we move on. How excited are you to see Sami Zayn back in a singles match after like 8 fucking months of not being in singles competition?
This is going to be it's weird because he's definitely been, and I think he's been doing a great job as manager, but this is going to be weird because Sami Zayn also, you forget that he's one of the best in-ring workers that they have. So this is going to be the first time, I would say, since that tag match we were talking about on Thursday, or not the tag match, that match where it was The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. This is a high-profile, workers' belt intercontinental title match between Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn. And they've already worked with each other. They should have an awesome fucking match. But I'm sure there's going to be tomfoolery. I'm sure Drew Gulak's going to be involved, probably because I'm sure that Shinsuke and Cesaro will be involved. But it could be the best match of the night, honestly, with the wrestling. It's going to be weird having him back for sure as a wrestler.
I'm hoping that WWE does the pull the rug out from under us and surprise us the opposite way and just let Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan have a match. Because it'll be a fucking great match.
Yeah, no bullshit, no extra people. Just let the two of them just kick the shit out of each other. I completely agree. But yeah, I mean, overall, man, some of these matches, I would say for the most part, I'm looking forward to. The changes, I guess they need to be done. But it'll be interesting to actually find out what will be the final card. And within all this, and I think I speak for Chris, that I don't blame Roman Reigns for stepping down from this, especially based on his medical stuff of, second time getting over leukemia very recently, definitely a weakened immune system. And any of the people that they sent home or opted out of it, out of those individuals that have left, it's completely understandable. And I'm happy that WWE's obviously not going to do anything. They're not being assholes about this. People understand. And even though this is probably driving Vince fucking crazy, I think it's good that AEW and WWE are trying to take precautions, which is what we originally were talking about. Any closing statements, Chris?
Outside of this fatal 5-way elimination match for the SmackDown Women's title, I think that's going to be awful. But outside of that, no other closing statements.
Dude, when it comes to stuff like that, to be honest with you, it's better, I think, for it to be elimination, so you can kind of get some of trim the fat, if you will.
I guess, but they've given us this match, essentially. I mean, sub Tamina in for whoever, I guess. But we've seen this match before, and it's not gonna be good unless you just immediately get everyone out and you just have Sasha and Bayley go at it.
That's what I'm wondering.
Sasha or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. If it will be interesting. I agree with you, though. It's definitely one of the ones I'm not looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to the Universal match, even if it is Goldberg and fucking Braun Strowman and they can do stuff. I just know it's not going to be that great. But if Braun Strowman or if Sasha or Naomi get that title, I'll at least like it for the factor that they won it. But Goldberg and fucking Bayley are probably going to end up winning those because I said that. Probably should have shut my mouth.
I just feel like they're missing a huge opportunity with someone like Adam Cole or someone from the NXT roster. Obviously Bill probably doesn't want to work with Matt Riddle or whatever. I just feel like you're missing a huge opportunity, whether it's Velveteen Dream or Adam Cole. Like, insert one of the NXT guys in. and give them the spotlight, maybe give them a win over Bill Goldberg. And when Reigns is okay to come back, that's your match. And you really, strap the fucking rockets to that guy. Like Adam Cole could easily be the champion. And he could win through Undisputed Era, and they could be on both shows. There's a lot of shit you could do there that makes a lot more sense than fucking Braun Strowman versus Bill Goldberg.
Well, and I completely agree with you. I'm just wondering what they're doing with TakeOver, because it seems like, and I mean, maybe this is not a bad idea to compete against, I don't think there's any competition. I think NXT knows that they're not going to hit the ratings that AEW is, but whatever. If you want to get people to view your product with Gargano and Ciampa, and Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream, 2 matches that were supposed to be at the next TakeOver, it seems like they're actually going to take these main events and make them the main events to their future shows, instead of doing a TakeOver. Because the other rumor, Chris, was next Thursday, the Thursday before WrestleMania, they were just going to, or next Wednesday, I should say, the Wednesday before WrestleMania, they were just going to do TakeOver on their thing, but obviously that's not happening. Like, what the hell's going on with TakeOver? And why not, if you're going to cancel it, throw a couple of matches from that on here, the bigger ones, and get rid of some of these smaller fucking no one gives a shit Baron Corbin versus Elias matches.
Well, there's 15 matches, right?
That's what I'm saying. But you can shave like 4 or 5 of them and put them in place with some of the bigger title matches. They already have the women's title for NXT, so like just a couple of them. Gargano and Ciampa, fucking Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole, just, maybe 1 or 2 other ones. The badass ladder match, the women's ladder match, that would be another one. Actually, I have no idea what the fuck the card was now.
I wonder if part of it is, and this is just me, I know nothing about this. I don't have any kind of inside information. I wonder if
here's the inside information.
There's no inside information. I wonder if part of it is the fact that they know that the NXT style works better with crowd reaction.
Yeah,
and
that's very true.
They're just delaying it to the future because they do. I mean, I don't want to call it an indie style, but they definitely feed off the crowd a little bit more. It's more like your New Japan type deal. And maybe the worry is if you just throw this on, you throw Ciampa and Gargano in a match in Mania with no crowd and not really any build up on your 2 primary shows on TV. So the people that come over to Mania might just be like, who the fuck are these guys? Your casual fans, especially if the idea is like, this is going to be the only thing on that weekend, sports related. So you might get some of those casual fans back. So I think there's probably a little bit of that mindset. Like I said, there's no insider information or anything on that, but obviously I think that that's something they probably took in consideration.
Yeah. It's weird because we're going to be talking about matches right now on NXT, and a lot of them were supposed to be a part of that card, including the women's ladder match. So, but I'm sure they're going to be figuring out stuff, and if anything, I'm assuming on future shows when they record them, they're going to be having some of these matches on there, or like you said, they're just going to see. The thing about NXT is I trust Triple H, even if they have to take a break, even if whatever, that he can actually extend feuds that I don't really trust Vince doing with this whole Mania concept, with WrestleMania still having to go on. Because if you look at the way AEW did it, they're able to maintain feuds for very long time periods because they have limited pay-per-views. And same thing with takeovers. There's limited takeovers throughout the year. So if they had to take time off and then come back to us, I think that they can give us enough material and have it extended. It's not like Vince where it's like, yeah, we need to get Mania over, because I don't think Vince can, he's not good with long-term booking, basically. Would that be fair, Chris?
I mean, I can't really say that this year because I think they put in really good work heading into Mania as far as storylines. You know what I mean? Like, they had a direction that they were clearly going in and until the world decided to erupt, so to speak. But this is like probably one of the best Mania build-ups I remember in quite a while, as far as having like set matches between individuals, etc., like some storylines. But yes, for the most part, Triple H is way better at booking. I mean, it used to be a taped show, right? So they would pre-tape 4 of these before you ever saw them. So in theory, NXT should be better at this. But like I said, I can't really shit on what Vince and Paul and who the fuck is over SmackDown now?
Bruce Pritchard.
Bruce Pritchard. I can't really shit on what they've done to try to build towards Mania. I mean, I guess some people probably didn't like the outcome of the Saudi show with Goldberg getting the win over Bray or whatever. I mean, here and there, but like we've talked about in the past, the idea of making people kind of dislike Goldberg to put him against Roman Reigns, booking wise, is kind of smart. So like take like the hero of the internet fans and whatever, and have Goldberg beat them, and then you still appease the Goldberg fans, but you also have that subset that would normally boo Roman are now going to boo Goldberg because they're like, oh, this fucking part-timer won the title or whatever. That I think that was the idea behind that. But outside of that, I mean, the booking for this thing's not been bad, man. And I think they had some really good setup, like matches set up like almost a month ago that we all knew about. And to me, I was really excited about this card. I still am. I think there's some good matches on this shit, but I can't really complain about the build up to Mania. But like you said, with NXT, Triple H and William Regal and all the great minds that are there, and knowing that show used to be pre-taped anyways, and like you said, with AEW having a 4-month span in between pay-per-views, there's ways to do that and just extend those storylines. More of the problem is a lot of those storylines are already recycled, which is what worries me. Like, how much more of Ciampa versus Gargano, etc., can I deal with for 2 months down the line?
Hey, Chris, apparently, from what Triple H says, this is it. This is the last time. But we'll get to that, actually, with the ending of the show. All right, so NXT started off with a match between Tyler Breeze, Prince Pretty himself, going against Austin Theory. We kind of already talked about it a bit earlier. It was a good match, man. I mean, both of them are great workers. Austin is all over the place. I love when he goes through the ropes, when he's on the apron and does the drop kick, the shotgun drop kick. I think that's really, really good. I mean, I really like Austin Theory. His body size, we've talked about this, and maybe we're both biased because we're, both from Georgia, and I've gone to Southern Outer Wrestling, and, I've seen this dude live before all this, before even he was involved and stuff. And he's got that body type that's like the Dynamite Kid, Benoit, Jamie Noble, Davey Richards, stocky but quick, and his personality reminds me of a young Orton, and his performance reminds me of AJ Styles, one of the Georgia boys. So it was weird having the loss. I'm assuming, Chris, because it says NXT, you'll remember when Andrade first was exposed, when he came on the scene, he was losing every fucking match and getting his ass kicked to kind of show him and put him in his place when he met Selena Vega that he needed to get on track, and then he went up. So if they have this set up that Tyler Breeze is going to have, some storyline with Austin Theory, and Austin Theory inevitably is going to come up and start just dominating over him to make him more focused, because within this match, he started playing and tried to videotape himself and was just fucking around and ended up getting pinned because of it after getting the beauty shot. So if they do that, great. If this is just Tyler Breeze getting a win over Austin Theory, I have no idea why the fuck they did it. How do you feel about this match?
I kind of like how you drew some parallels there with Andrade and some past things that they've done on NXT. That makes me feel a little better about the situation, because I didn't really think of that, but that's a good point. I don't like the filming yourself. I think it's too on the nose, especially it's kind of Sammy Guevara's thing right now. And then he's also in a match with a guy that used to do that on NXT. So that, I guess that was one takeaway. It was a good match.
I think he did it on Tyler's phone, basically. I think that's what they were insinuating.
Yeah,
I hope it
so. Yeah. I will recommend, if you guys want to check out some early Darby Allin and Austin Theory and some of the Evolve shit. Also, another Vice documentary. We talked about the Benoit stuff, obviously, on the past episode. But check out The Wrestlers. If you go to Vice's website and just search Austin Theory, that episode should pop up. You should be able to find it on YouTube or whatever, but it's great. Austin Theory is one of the people they highlight, that Darby Allin. Obviously, guys that will be huge stars in the future. Don't like him being paired with Angel Garza, though, as we talked about earlier. I just think it's a weird combination of people, and it's just really easy for Vince to have one bad taste in his mouth and be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, and to reiterate, that's the thing you're worried about. It has nothing to do with Angel. I think both me and you think that Angel's also one of those future superstars, I would believe, in the future.
Oh, yeah, man. I think Angel Garza's already kind of pegged as, in a feud with Andrade going forward with Selena at some point. I mean, they already have stuff written on the wall for him. My worry is, like, you're throwing Austin Theory into a WrestleMania match, and if he has one fuck up, Vince is going to lose shit.
Yep, that's very true. All right, so the next thing that we had was a match with Killian Dane going against newcomer Tuhati Miles. Tuhati Miles, I swear to God, I don't know, maybe all of these, I don't think Shane did. But it seems like there's similar looks that's very Velveteen Dream-esque that both him and previous to him, Shane Strickland and even Damian Priest kind of had, like this androgynous with the sunglasses and the prancing to the ring. I think it's overdone, and to stand out, you probably want to do something a bit differently. Luckily, with Strickland and especially Priest, they've kind of shown more personality past that, but it just kind of, it seems, like I said, overdone. But he got a loss anyways. Good in the ring. Killian Dane's just a monster, and ended up overcoming him with the Vader bomb. Yeah, good stuff. How'd you like it? Did you know that Killian Dane was still on the roster?
Yes, I did. He's not fighting Dijakovic or Keith Lee?
No, they took him out of that thing. Maybe Priest is not that person.
Okay. No, I thought this was a good squash match. Obviously, they're trying to rehab Killian a little bit here. And I agree with you. We've talked about this in the past. Velveteen Dream has a natural charisma, and you can't just do that character with anyone. It's kind of like Jeff Hardy. There's just something to like about the guy in general, regardless of the character. So just throwing that gimmick on anyone, even going back to Tyler Breeze, for instance, in his NXT run, like, yeah, he made it work, but not to the same level as I think that, like, Velveteen Dream made it work.
Agreed. Completely agree. All right, then we had Cameron Grimes going against Tony Nese. This is a really good match, man. This is kind of the Corso. I mean, if I'm going to nitpick NXT comparing it to AEW, some of these matches were kind of, this is going to sound like an insult, but it's not supposed to be. It's like a 205 Live where they have a bunch of great high-profile matches, but not a lot of direction. Then again, they put a lot of these ones, like this one and the Killian Dane Miles match, in between some of the ones that, were for storyline. But it's like they are really using whoever they have. And still, Tony Nese, awesome in-ring performer, ex-cruiserweight champion. Him and Cameron Grimes had a good match. There's one part where it's so weird how the world is now, Chris, where Cameron Grimes was like doing this thing where he kind of like almost goes into his mouth and starts pulling on the jaw. And I'm like, will you stay fuck away from his mouth with your hands, dude? But that's how it is nowadays. But dude, Cameron Grimes he's a fun heel. He's nasty. I love the caveman. Before I didn't think it really worked for me, but now the way that the way it looks now, I think is actually becoming a pretty good finisher, even though Loki does it as a normal move. But how did you like this match, Chris?
I thought the match was very, very good. I like Tony Nese a lot. It's he seems to be kind of a fall guy in a lot of situations since they moved the cruiserweight title back to NXT. I think he's a very good worker. Cameron Grimes looked good here. Curious to see what they do with him in the future, just because I don't know of any real storyline to shove him into unless you're going to move people out of NXT or maybe introduce a mid-card title, which I don't think is, or put him in that mid-card title spot, I should say, not introduce, but introduce him to the mid-card title, like North American Championship.
He's always on the cusp right now. He gets his ass kicked by any of those guys if he goes against them, though.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. So they'll give him a win, and then he'll go against someone in that picture and then lose. But yeah, great wrestler, and I thought this was a pretty good match. Man, could you imagine if this was the 80s and you had like Britt Baker and her move was that clutch thing where the mandible, she'd be like rubbing her hands all over the seats and shit to get the heat. Or
Tell you
Mick
that.
Foley.
Really get into
Mick,
character, brother.
Mick Foley with
Mick
fucking
did do that though,
Socko. That's what I'm
because
saying.
I've heard people complaining that he actually used his own socks. Like he's like, I washed them, and they're like, dude, it's not a new sock. Like, what the fuck? Like,
That's what they
Jesus.
were worried about, not Rikishi giving them a dirty ass stink
Oh,
face.
oh, God, that's the one, man. I would rather kiss Vince McMahon's ass and get a fucking stink face. Fuck it.
Especially after hearing the story of Vince being like, I heard you don't really wash your ring gear, pal.
Ugh.
When Vince
that's
took
like,
one, he was like, wash your ass. I'm not doing this.
dude, and that's the thing is like those legendary things like Vader. Apparently, like the smell of his gloves just was terrible. Jim Ross makes it sound like it was the worst fucking smell in the world, and he actually had to get on to Vader's ass about having hygiene because he would just go wrestle, sweat his ass off, put his suit in the fucking suitcase, and then drive the next place. He would clean himself, but then he'd put on the same fucking outfit, and then go out and wrestle without washing it. And it's a great story if you could find it with JR. He loved Leon, but he was like, him getting onto him was like a mom getting onto their child. He's like, it's not my fault. Like it's a funny story.
You also always hear these great stories about how Leon's like kind of a gentle giant in the back.
Yeah, like he's very sensitive.
Yeah, like I think Beyond the Ring, if we're taking it back to old documentaries, didn't they do that whole thing where it's like Leon's like selling real estate and he's sad that Sean shit on him or whatever? Do you remember this from that documentary? Yeah. So rest in peace, Vader. One of the greatest big men in the sport in general, and should be on our 20 list of Hall of Fames when we get to that point. He's one that slipped my mind, but fucking Vader was awesome.
I'm glad you reminded me, and Vader definitely should be, but I just wanted to mention to everyone, I don't know how the hell I did this, but I realized that, and you can check the messages. I know that you don't believe me, but I only had 9. I forgot a number. So I went back and I thought about someone that I wanted on there, and who the hell did I end up picking? Man, I know I thought
Savio Vega.
No, I want to say it was Mick Foley, but I can't find on the list who the fuck is the weirdo that like wasn't on here before.
Well, I don't think Foley made either of our lists, but he's definitely well deserved on a spot. So that would be a good sub.
Yeah, I want to say it's Foley is who I had. It doesn't look like. Let's see: John Cena, Sting, Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, The Rock, Great Muta, Charlotte, Trish, Piper, AJ, Terry Funk, Undertaker, Okada, Dusty Rhodes, Liger, Hogan, Hart, Jericho, and Brody. Maybe I'm going crazy, man. Maybe I'm literally going crazy on air. That's good. We'll figure it.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. This is great. This is good radio. All right, so next we have Aaliyah, who entered the ring for her match with Xia Li. Lee, when she fucking did this, I remember this is a little while back. I just thought that she's good. She's very fluid, but she doesn't know how to control her kicks. She looks like she's hit people in the past, and I just thought it was way too stiff. And she accidentally kicked Aaliyah in the fucking face, broke her nose, and that's what Aaliyah's been out for. And showed a video of her crying backstage when she's like, yeah, we're going to have to like place it back. And finally they cut away. I think that was actually pretty damn realistic. I just hate it because Aaliyah's been there longer than fucking Cassius Ohno at this point. And her comeback, and I was happy to see it. Io Shirai was awesome, because Xia Li was taken out in the back. I'm assuming they're trying to position that Aaliyah did it so she wouldn't have to go against her, because she's still a heel. And then Io comes out and destroys her. And it's like, Io Shirai's comeback. And it's like, oh, it was Aaliyah's too. I think that was longer. I don't know. I just feel bad for her sometimes. She's a good in-ring worker. I don't know how she is on the mic, but regardless, it was great seeing fucking Io back. And if the crowd was there, they would have exploded, I think, Chris.
I agree with you. I think Aaliyah falls into that category of, well, we tried, so now you're just in the picture. Like, unfortunately, I mean, it happens. That's the thing kind of about Cameron Grimes to some extent is, well, where do you put him? And that female roster is stacked, and now Io's back. So it's like, what the hell do you do with her? I mean, she, being gone for that long. I mean, they did the same thing with Kenta. And, you know what I mean? Like, he was their NXT champion. Yep. Kevin Owens attacked him. He was gone for a year. He came back to feud with Cassius Ohno, who was also gone multiple times from NXT or whatever. So, and then just got demolished by Aleister Black. Sometimes you just, when you hit that injury bug, they don't know how to reposition you. And I think she kind of falls into that slot, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you are right about that. But hey, like I said, it was great seeing Io back. All right, so they had a weird vignette about Dexter Lumis. I'm pretty sure Dexter Lumis, and we've seen him one time, and he was really fucking creepy. If you guys can't tell, his name is Dexter from Dexter Morgan from the television show, and then Dr. Loomis from, John Carpenter's Halloween. And it was a very short vignette, very creepy, but I hate it for him, I should say, because when he came out, the way he was acting, it was almost like a horror version of Goldust. Like, he was really creepy with the person, but like more of like a serial killer sort of way, like, And I thought I was like, all right, cool. And then we haven't seen him. And now the night that they debut the fact that Killer Cross can be involved in this, it's like, where's there going to be room for this psychopath? Maybe they'll just take different paths, whatever. But I forgot what his name was in TNA though. But it was funny. I was listening to, I'll look that up. I'm pretty sure it's something, something Shaw maybe. It doesn't matter. But like, I was listening to Wrestling Inc., their breakdown of this show, and they were talking about Dexter Lumis, and Matt Morgan didn't even realize it, and they were like, "Oh, that's blah blah blah," and he's like, "Oh, like that was a good friend of his. He didn't even realize like it was him. He was like, oh, I thought it was some weird fucking creepy dude. Like, what the hell?" But how did you like this vignette? And do you think that he's gonna have a place on the card when they're already building another psychopath? Do we have room for two psychos?
He's kind of a unique guy because I just remember him from Gut Check, which was this weird thing TNA did for a while. It's also how you got kind of man, why can I not think of Dick Flip's name? Cornette would be pissed right now. Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan was part of that crew, like 2010 era, so I kind of remember him from TNA. Looking up his Wikipedia real quick, I want to know what he was like when his ring name was Boss Hog. That's the real question I have. I agree with you. It's that thing of having maybe too many of these dark, mysterious, or cult or murdery characters, and he does come off as a murdery type of Goldust, less rapey, more murdery.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. It's his name was Samuel Shaw, and he was actually, strangely, at All In, he was actually one of the guys that backed up Nick Aldis, because he's good friends with Nick Aldis in the business. But it was just so funny hearing Matt Morgan go, "Wait, what? That's fucking Samuel Shaw?" Like, he knew them obviously probably from the thing that you were talking about. And he's like, "I got to call him because I couldn't even tell it was him." But we have seen him in the past. I'm sure that they'll find some placement for him. But yeah, just Killer Cross is going to be the number one psycho, I would believe, especially where they positioned him. Anyways, let's keep on going.
Before we move on, I just want to give a shout out to WWA for Wrestling School, where he was trained under Mr. Curtis Hughes. If you don't know who Curtis Hughes is, he was Mr. Hughes, well known in WCW. Yeah, it's fucking great or if you're an ECW fan, Mr. Hughes, ECW. Also, that same school trained to some extent AJ Styles and Heath Slater and a bunch of other people. So shout out to them. Now that I'm looking at Mr. Boss Hogg's Wiki page.
Mr. Boss Hogs. I like that. That should be the name of like a nice little like romantic comedy. Anyways, we had Keith Lee out, and he was talking about the NXT North American Championship. Didn't take, and how he needs to basically apologize because he screwed up with Dominik Dijakovic when he got hit in the back by Damian Priest, and then he did his slam thing to Dijakovic. Dominic comes out, confronts him, says he doesn't give a shit about that. He just wants a piece of the North American Championship. And then Damian Priest came up and, challenged both men. He came in with his little, Swiss Army Bobby stick, whatever the fuck, the one that extends out from it, and isn't that a great way to explain it? God damn it. But
I love
he's like
the
a pirate
Swiss
with
Army
it.
Bobby stick.
He's like a pirate or something. Anyways, and then came in the ring. The three of them brawled with Dijakovic coming out on top between the three men. I'm assuming this is going to be the North American Championship match with the three of them. I just want them to position, just keep a separation with Keith Lee and Dijakovic. If Priest is in this for whatever reason, and you want to put it on Dijakovic, and that's the reason why is, because he ends up pinning Priest or something like that, get it. So you can put maybe Keith Lee in the main picture. Just the two of them, I really enjoy their matches. I don't have to see it again. Having this added element though with Priest is interesting. I like him. I think he's pretty good. I think, like I've said before though, I think he's kind of somewhat doing a little bit of a Scott Hall impression. He's very fond of himself. He just wants to get the ladies and more money. And anyways, but yeah, should be good. How do you feel about it, Chris? Shut me up.
I if he's doing a Scott Hall impersonation, go full bore with it. Start saying "Hey Chico" and shit. Like, it's not copyrighted.
Hey,
do it.
yo.
Yeah, like, why not? Survey says, fuck you.
So you want instead of what did I call it, the Swiss Army Bobby stick? You want him to come up with a taser, is what I'm assuming.
Sure. Well, let's just bring WCW all the way back. All the way back. Good and bad. Was it a cattle prod? Let's bring those back too. Let's just fucking cattle prod and Bobby Nightstick on a pole match. What's Russo doing?
Scott Hall on a pole match.
This is where we're at. I see what happens when you coop two wrestling fans up for too long. Shit takes a turn for the worst. I'm on the same page with you. I love Dijakovic and Keith Lee in a match together, but we've seen like 4 of those. I don't know that Damian Priest is the answer. I would make this a 4-way and put in Walter. Have big ass Hoss Mass and have Damian Priest stand out as kind of I was going to say more athletic, but Keith Lee's fucking incredible. So let's say the smaller guy of that bunch, but have Walter just fucking win it and take it back to the UK just to be a dick. And then build that storyline with him and Keith Lee, because I think that's like where the money is for your big Hoss matches, honestly. And that separates. You could do Dijakovic and Damian Priest to the side of that. So I would go that route. Plus, just more Walter, please.
Walter. Hey, he's got to go through Finn Balor first, but I love that idea. I always thought UK title with Walter versus the NXT North American title with Keith Lee. Put them both on the line or some shit. I think that'd be awesome, especially if Walter wins.
Yeah. I mean, if he wins it and takes it back, and you have like some good matches between the two.
What if he's a dick? Oh man, think about if Walter beat Keith Lee and they gave him the North American title and he was like, nah, and throws it back to Keith Lee like he doesn't even want it, and just raises the UK title.
So he does the Shane Douglas / Kevin Owens thing, where like Kevin Owens won the United States title and just fucking stepped on it and held up the NXT title, and then they had the chance to make him like the biggest superstar of all time, and they fucked it up.
I'm sorry to bring that back up, buddy. I know.
So sad.
All right, so we had a recorded video segment at Adam Cole's pool. He had to say that because he's cool and shit like that. I love Adam Cole. Said he would not give the Velveteen Dream a shot at the NXT Championship because he has to go through Bobby Fish. This is going to be obviously a thing where he's going to go through every member, and then eventually we're going to see Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream, which was supposed to be at that takeover coming up for WrestleMania weekend, but obviously is not going to be. So good stuff, Adam Cole's still Adam Cole, right, baby? I mean, Chris?
Yes, Adam Cole is still great. I kind of hope he worms his way somehow into this Goldberg match as opposed to what they're saying they're going to give us. But yeah, this should be really, really good. And obviously, huge fan of a huge fan of both Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. And I like, Bobby Fish. This is good. It's another one of those things where Velveteen Dream's kind of beat the shit out of all these guys already, and we're retreading a lot of the past. And this seems something that's happening more and more in NXT since they got the live show. And from that standpoint, it makes me worried a little bit.
Yep. I agree with you. All right, so we had Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch against, holy shit, twice in 1 week, the tag team of Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink. I will say, Brendan Vink can work, man. I like him. We already knew Shane Thorne can, so if they're working out something with the two of them, great. Just like when they were on Raw, they were there to take the pin, which is great to see Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. Basically, I mean, they're such a hard-hitting, badass tag team, but since they look like two weird guys, two cavemen that are bald for some reason, they don't usually get the wins. They usually have to take the L's, but they're usually the guys they put in there to spicing up the match, if you will. So I was happy to see them get a win. How did you like this, Chris? Were you excited for Brandon Vink and Shane Thorne? Who the fuck was Shane Thorne's other partner from the Mighty? I don't remember. I feel bad for the guy. What happened to him?
Well, we just saw them get murdered on Monday Night Raw. So, I just, you know what I mean?
Can you believe, when Triple H was, explaining, he's like, all right, Oni, Danny, come over here. You guys are going to win tonight. And they were like, what? Wait, what? Are you fucking kidding me?
You serious? We're getting a win?
Yeah, do the punk thing, beat their asses. It's going to be great.
I hope they they'll never do it, but what was the Edge and Christians tag team, El Conquistadors or whatever? Just put Shane Thorne and Brandon Vink in these masks and send them out there.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. All right, pretty badass match with Kaden Carter and Candice LeRae. Kaden Carter, man, I don't know where she came from, but she's been doing pretty damn good things. She does lose a lot within, these matches in the women's division, but we talked about that. It's so stacked there. But since she's came in, she's put on some damn good matches, and she had an awesome partner in Candice LeRae for this match. Thought it was a pretty good match, and basically Kaden Carter tapping her, or Candice LeRae, I should say, tapped her out with the Gargano Escape to earn the spot in the ladder match. That women's ladder match is looking pretty damn stacked. So I'm trying to, I thought I had a list on here. We're going to be having a match, I should say, with Xia Li, Deonna Purrazzo, Dakota Kai, Aaliyah, Kaden Carter, and Shotzi Blackheart in the future. That will be the last spot within this match, this tag match to become the number one contender for the women's title, basically facing either Rhea Ripley or Charlotte Flair at a future date. And I'm thinking you either put Dakota Kai in there, Chris, to add an element of storyline with her and Tegan. Obviously, because we really haven't seen anything expanded since her bodyguard, Diesel, came in and fucked up shit. Either her or Shotzi Blackheart, I would think, would be the people to win that match. But I'll look up. I'm pretty sure so far it's Candice LeRae, it's Io Shirai, it's Chelsea Green, it is trying to think of all the winners. Tegan Nox. I mean, that's a fucking stacked match. And then you throw in probably someone like a Shotzi Blackheart or Dakota Kai. That's going to be a pretty good ladder match, I would say.
Man, to me, you just throw Shotzi in there because she's fucking crazy and do all of the crazy spots. She'll be your Kevin Owens of the match, or Sami Zayn of the match, as we saw in that Evolve show that they showed on NXT. I thought this was not NXT, but on the network. I thought this was a really, really good match. I like Kaden Carter. I think there's something to build on there. I don't know what it is, but there's something I like about the way she wrestles in the ring, I guess. Candice LeRae, I've never been a huge fan of, but she's still good in this match. And obviously, with the amount of talent they have in that ladder match, there's huge potential. I think that's going to be a really, really fun match. And if it's me, I know that they're huge on Dakota Kai, but Shotzi Blackheart, the tank girl gimmick that she's kind of doing, I like. And also, she's fucking crazy. So if you're going to have a ladder match, that would be the person I would shove in there.
I agree. All right. So then we had a match between Mr. Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong. You know, I really like Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong when they wrestle against each other because they beat the living fuck out of each other. I think that both of them really just don't give a shit. Although I will say, and I'm not trying to be, a size guy or whatever, it is kind of weird though that with Matt Riddle selling as much as he did because he always usually has these little spurts of aggression, and Roddy is a smaller guy, but Roderick does bring it back with great submission stuff and chain wrestling and whatnot. So it was a good match back and forth. And Matt Riddle ended up beating Roderick Strong. Afterwards, two large men in matching gear attacked Riddle after the match. Malcolm Bivens entered the venue. I believe that's oh man, I forgot what his old name was. Oh, I'll remember it. He introduced himself, noting he and Riddle already knew each other, and introduced Riddle to the future of the NXT Tag Team Division. The large men posed, and they and Bivens stood over Riddle as the show cut to commercial break. He is something Hathaway, I believe. But I believe he's a wrestler, but kind of I think is it Robbie E. They're using him as managers.
Yeah, so it's
Something
Stokey Hathaway. Yeah. And probably the thing that I know him most for is
he Ring of Honor?
Damn it. No, Evolve. I think he was maybe TJP's manager or something. I remember there's a feud with him and Aleister Black or whatever Aleister's previous name was a couple years ago. I obviously don't have this pulled up right in front of me, but that comes to mind. So I don't know what they're going to do with him because I don't ever remember seeing him wrestle. Maybe I'm crazy on that, but I don't remember seeing him wrestle. I think I remember him as a manager in Evolve.
He's got a pretty good group of two fucking huge guys. I remember someone mentioning that one of them, I believe, is an ex. He used to play Major League Football or Major League Baseball. One of those ginormous dudes. The one that's less ginormous. But so is this the second coming of Authors of Pain? Should they have just paired him with fucking? Wow, why can't I remember LOD's manager's name?
Oh man, now I'm we're both doing it now.
Castiglione is married to his daughter. Fucking, I can't remember her name either.
Paul Ellering.
Thank you, Rachel Ellering. Okay, cool. We did it.
we nailed it.
So yeah, do you think this is too AOP with long hair, basically? I hate to say it, but it kind of is.
I mean, I don't know that putting them against the what is the bro tag team's name? What is it called?
Bro.
I don't know. Putting them against the Broserweights is a good good time to get these guys over, or a good way to start it. Because if they beat Matt Riddle, that's not if they beat the Broserweights, that's not going to help them. Fans are just going to turn on that shit immediately. So. Good luck. Good luck with that one, NXT. That seems like something Vince picked out of his mind as far as bad ideas. The fucking Broserweights are the most over thing right now on that entire show. So to introduce these guys as potential people the Broserweights have to go against with no build up or no matches and just a random manager, good luck. Good luck having your fucking Viking experience try to get over against Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne.
Oh my God, the AOP meets the Viking experience, dude.
I mean, but honestly, man, what do they? How do they expect that's gonna work?
I don't know.
That's like you brought in some random fucking person no one's ever heard of, and you're like, okay, you're gonna go beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the fuck. Some of this live TV stuff with NXT, there's some hands in this that used to not be there, and in my opinion, at least, is the way things are being booked.
Yep, I agree. It's interesting. All right, so Velveteen Dream and Bobby Fish, that's going to be next week. That women's match for the second chance to get into the ladder match, that's going to be next week. And we're also going to get the North American Championship match between Keith Lee, Dominik Dijakovic, and Damian Priest next week. I must have missed that because I didn't remember them even saying that. So yeah, it seems like stuff that they were planning on having on TakeOver, they're putting on their shows, because I thought that three-way was going to be a part of that as well. But those are pretty good matches announced for next week, Chris, I would say.
Yeah, it should be a pretty strong show. Man, I'm still just like baffled by the fact they're going to bring these poor guys in and try to put them against the Broserweights with like no build up at all. Ugh.
Let them do their thing. I'm sure they'll be Jinder Mahal's future bodyguards. That's what we're going to see.
Man, twice in 1 week we've brought up Jinder Mahal. This is like a fucking rarity right here.
The modern day Maharaja. I remember going to God damn it. I remember to go and see Raw or SmackDown, something recently in the last couple of years, and I was cheering so hard for Jinder Mahal, and all the audience were getting mad at me because I was just going crazy and saying his name over and over again.
I remember when we used to do call-ins, we had someone call it and just kept yelling that for like 10 seconds. There's a reason why we don't do call-ins anymore.
Yeah, several reasons. God. All right. So the last thing that happened was Triple H comes out. He introduced a segment that he was going to have, basically, and before he could really get that much down, Tommaso Ciampa came out, interrupted him, and then he told Gargano to come to the ring. He basically told Ciampa not to touch Gargano. Gargano looked like such a bitch in all this, by the way. I just have to say that. But I think I understand based on what they're doing. Triple H said he stopped William Regal from firing both of them after their fight at the PC. Johnny was like, what the fuck? He's like, why am I getting like charged for this though? Because that maniac is the one who attacked me. He's the one who destroyed the friggin' mirror. He's the one who did this. And then Triple H is like, yeah, but you just didn't mean to, hit the referee in the face, super kick him. So they're building this whole entire thing. Both the guys are in the ring. He said the rivalry should end on the biggest stage that there is, but Gargano argued all they needed was a ring and a referee. So Triple H said he was going to find an empty building, put a ring in it, and get a referee. He said that he was basically going to give them both like this sounded like a Gone in 60 Seconds like action fucking film. Like, he's going to text them the location. They were going to go there and have an unsanctioned match. So basically it wasn't really on NXT. Triple H doing his normal shit. And by the end of the match, both Gargano and Ciampa, it made it sound like it was a loser leaves town sort of thing, the way they were positioning it. I don't know how they're going to do that. I have an idea, but we'll get to that. Gargano said that he's ready for the match in 2 weeks, so they're going to be doing it not next week, but the week after that. I'm assuming on NXT, some unsanctioned match in some random fucking place. Cool, whatever. And this will be it. This is going to be it. There's no more after this. This was supposed to make up for the match last year that they were trying to set up that they couldn't. And then the feud is done. Triple H made it a point to say that this is very similar to what him and Shawn went through. And if you look at it, then he is behind Tommaso Ciampa. He looked like Tommaso Ciampa's dad. I feel like I wish it was, if they do something next week related to the guys interacting, I kind of want Shawn on behalf of Johnny, because Johnny's coming off like Shawn Michaels, where I still loved him, but it was like that time between when he got the title between 96 and 97 before he went DX, where he was just a cocky motherfucker and he had that type of attitude about him. And it seems like Johnny should be with Shawn in a way, since Triple H was kind of I don't know. That's how it is. Even though they both interact with each other separately. Obviously, Ciampa's been taught by Sean, and I'm sure Triple H just brought Johnny under his wing too. It just seems like they've always been grouped together. So it would have been nice seeing HBK come and do an appearance. But I don't even know if he's allowed to go to the thing or whatnot, and that whole fucking bullshit. But the ending had a segment all of a sudden come up with Killer Cross with his signature TikTok and a bunch of weird images that look like they're in the background. That one scene of Willy Wonka where they're on the ship and he starts acting like a fucking weirdo. Really creepy shit. Really liked it. And then that was it. So I'm assuming to get around having, if one of them's not going to, Raw or SmackDown or some way they can position that, because Ciampa's already said that he wants to stay with NXT. Gargano, I think, would be a small fish in a big fucking pond if you were to go there. Maybe I could be wrong. People like Daniel Bryan, if he was in SmackDown, maybe would want to go in a feud with him automatically. But you can get around it if you involve Killer Cross, because he can come up and do something where one of the guys gets fucked over, and that's the reason. So that's a loophole around it. I don't know. Chris, how'd you feel about this segment and then the setup for the future match and the reveal of Killer Cross?
Man, I like you drew all of that Shawn Michaels and Triple H stuff out for me. Because what I got out of this is Triple H is booking an empty arena match in an empty arena. And I never got past that. I was like, so wait, you're in an empty arena booking an empty arena match. Why the fuck is the match not just happening right now?
I think it's Triple H trying to be, Triple H about it, where it's like unsanctioned, so I don't have to worry about it. You guys can kill each other. It's not on me.
But
gone 60 seconds, man.
I mean, yes, but it's such a convoluted fucking, there's no one there to begin with. It's like there's no athletic committee in wrestling. Otherwise, Braun would have been suspended for trying to kill Roman after he flipped over that fucking ambulance. And don't get me started on Baron Corbin, who killed Elias on Friday. I hope Elias comes back as the Vagabond again. The luchador version of Elias. That'd be great. No, all kidding aside, outside of the ridiculousness of, in this time of empty arena wrestling, someone booking an empty arena match, it's going to be a good match. I think they kind of gave us a tease of what will happen with Killer Cross. The TikTok thing is weird in the mindset of WWE, because I just immediately think of Boogeyman, and as soon as Vince sees this guy, he's gonna be like, how about you eat some worms, pal? Can you puke?
Oh no, don't say that. You're right. I forgot that connection. That is his saying, because he's the toll man, the one that brings people. He's basically, I don't know if he's supposed to be the Grim Reaper or doesn't really matter, but yeah, that is Boogeyman's thing. That's not good. So I hope that doesn't happen.
So what you're saying, that the time is up, the time is now. Can't see me?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Actually, that's exactly what I'm saying. But I am looking forward to Cross being a part of this. Really like him as a wrestler. Like I said, he's creepy as shit. He's got that, I mean, I've compared it a billion times, Chris. He's got that Psycho Sid quality to his facial expressions. Or even, I know he was a big fan of him, like an evil Ultimate Warrior in actually a good sense, like that intensity and that just ferocious. I don't know. It'll be fun to see him in the ring. And that's the one thing that's kind of different, is that he's actually, for his size, pretty agile.
Which NXT has consistently stacked up on, of these big guys who are very, very fucking agile at this point. I mean, we might as well just have a boss hog battle or something, or what did Dusty used to call it, bunkhouse brawl, with Walter, Keith Lee, Killer Cross. Can we just get all these guys in the fucking ring flying around? That's what we all actually want to see. As Big E would say, big meat slapping meat. Nah, I mean, Killer Cross is great. I love your comparison to Psycho Sid, and I've talked about this in the past. When Sid was on, I think Sid was actually really a great wrestler. You just get shit on because everyone sees the broken leg, which having a road agent tell Psycho Sid go to the top rope is kind of just on that road agent to begin with. But some of the great, like the empty arena Sid promo, his work in WWE and kind of outside of there, and some of the stuff he did in WCW, kind of in his babyface run, I thought was really good, underrated. And Killer Cross is a better wrestler, so if he can channel a little bit of the craziness of Psycho Sid and give us that intense character, I love that comparison. But also, I like Psycho Sid a lot, and I know you're kind of
He's also
opposite of me with that.
I've gone back and watched some of his stuff, especially like you're saying, when he worked with Sean and those guys back then. I'll give him props, but he also gives me like a Perry Saturn kind of vibe almost.
Oh man, now you're bringing up fucking moppy TikTok clocks, worms, and the same thing. Dude, Vince is gonna lose his shit. he's gonna have a clock with a fucking face on it.
Here's Clocky. Oh no.
Eating worms and shit. Hopefully Vince doesn't hear this. He's like, I like all these ideas.
That's good shit, right?
Such good shit.
God damn. All right, so before we get out of here, let's go over SmackDown. Pretty good show.
Remember, we have as long as we want, and we also were talking about that tag team thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Almost makes me want to skip this altogether. So the show opened for SmackDown with Bayley and Sasha Banks arguing with Lacey Evans, Naomi about the SmackDown Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. Tamina Snuka came up. She attacked Evans and Naomi and then was about to do it to Bayley and Banks, but they pulled a powder and got the hell out of there, and Tamina scared all of them. It's great that Tamina can get phone calls every once in a while. Hey, are you employed still? I don't know. Can you tell me that? You need to get here next week. You're going to have a match. Because that's exactly what the fuck happens. But yeah, so I don't know. Is this going to be elimination? They really, maybe they did stay. Maybe I just don't care. And that's why I don't know the information, guys. I don't know. That could be it. But I am happy that Naomi, Lacey Evans, Bayley, like there's good wrestlers in there. It's just, is this all just going to be so? And they kind of like hinted at it last night, Chris, with both Bayley and Sasha being like, oh, it's so messed up. We would never go against each other in the match. We're going to work together if we have to. It just makes me think that Sasha's going to get the win over Bayley, and they're going to start that feud, and they haven't had a good track record with. So are you excited about this 5-way match? You already told me that, so you don't even have to.
Nope, I buried this earlier. What I would do is have Naomi take both of them out and then have them feud against her, because everything else in this match is irrelevant, honestly, and no one wants to see Becky versus Sasha feud 3 years too late.
I agree. We already had a great version of that in NXT. We don't have to repeat history. I didn't even mean to rhyme, but I got the time. Just let me unwind. Anyways, I just want to wind.
So
it's
dime. Tricky.
It's tricky. All right. Drew Gulak went against Shinsuke Nakamura. Whoever won this match, well, basically, if Drew won it, then Daniel Bryan had a match against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, and Shinsuke was trying to block that. Pretty good short match. I like Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. They're doing like the. It reminds me of Royce Gracie, where they're smacking shoulders and going ho ho, like they're actually like training for BJJ or some shit. Them as a duo is fun. I will admit. I feel like it's eventually going to be Drew Gulak who screws over Daniel Bryan because he's such a good heel. But while we have this going on, good stuff. And now because of that, we're going to have Daniel Bryan going against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. So how'd you feel about? I mean, it was kind of obvious that Drew Gulak was going to win to set up that match. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was still really good, and I like the interaction between Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. And if it's me, I would go the opposite route. Don't have anyone turn on each other. Just have them maybe lose the titles and then decide, like, hey, we need to, or just hold the titles forever, and then maybe them decide, like, who's the better wrestler and do a best of 7 or something.
I'm down.
It fits more of their character than one of them turning on the other. I know they try to get Gulak over as a heel, but to me, he's almost... God, we've talked about Chris Benoit a lot this week, but to some extent, he doesn't have the personality as much as his in-ring skill.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they would do with Benoit, where he's like this tweener who doesn't really give a shit. he's not really a heel or a babyface to some extent until later in his career. And Gulak kind of fills that. I know they tried to do the PowerPoint shit. And they gave him some goofy stuff, but just have him be a straight shoot wrestler and maybe
he's kind of. Is this too big of me to compare him to Dean Malenko?
Well, I don't think he's as good as Dean Malenko, like in ring psychology and shit. But no, I think that's a good observation. More what I'm getting at is there's no reason why they can't hold the titles for a while and then just decide like they want to see who's better and just give the titles up. Like to me, that's the way you book that, because just doing another feud with them is not going to be good right off the rip. I would like them to have like a really good tag run, like maybe like 3 or 4 months, and then lose the tag. If they want to drop the tag belts, do it in some sort of multi-man match and have them not take the pin and then decide they want to see who's better. That's how I would book it. How WWE will book it, they'll probably like fucking, I don't know, at Mania, Daniel Bryan will get a nut shot or something and Sami Zayn will win and fucking Gulak will become part of Sami Zayn's career or whatever.
I like what you're saying. I see, that's the thing, is that they're typical, but I like what you're saying about them doing that, because I would love them. He beats Sami Zayn, he gets the IC belt. Daniel Bryan brings prestige to that belt. I've said that a million times. He's like certain people that just have had great IC runs. I'll even put the Miz on that. And then go back to the Miz and John Morrison and have them take the tag belts. And I would love to see fucking Daniel with 2 different sets of belts. And then let them do that. Fucking Daniel loses the IC belt at some point, but they're still tag champions. And then, like you said, maybe just make it between the 2 of them. And they're like, let's see who the better man is after they've been training for about a year. Now, you're probably right. And it's going to be typical.
I mean, I like your idea of him having 2 belts, but they lose the tag team belts without any of them taking the pin. And then Gulak's like, well, I want the IC belt. And then that's how you get back to that match if you want to go that route. That's another way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these ideas are better than what's probably going to play out.
And we say that all the time. We say that like every fucking week. Not with AEW and NXT. Note that. Or New Japan. Anyways, so basically Dolph Ziggler was talking to, I think, Bobby Roode on the phone. Either that or we're supposed to maybe believe that it's Sonya Deville before she's at there, I guess, FaceTiming them. Doesn't really matter. He's talking shit about Otis. Otis hears this, gets very flustered, comes the fuck over, and Dolph's like, oh, you're over 18, aren't you? You want to see some over 18 pictures? Like, just being a fucking dick. And this kind of just ends up, with them 2 in a match. Mandy Rose came up and was kind of giving him shit for being a dick to Otis. And he kind of sweet-talked her, and just Mandy made sure to clarify that they're not fighting over him or fighting over her as a prize. So now, obviously, that means they're fighting over her as a prize, because she put that in words. So that's fucking WWE for you. So it should be a good match. Like I said, I kind of see Mandy coming out. We think that she's going to help Otis, and then she just low blows him and then goes, and starts her and Dolph Ziggler as a unit. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. What do you think, Chris?
This is going to be really, I think you're spot on with what they're actually going to do. And this is going to be some deep fantasy booking right here. So just everyone
all right.
buckle up, buttercups. This is what I would do. You have Sonya Deville, right? You have Mandy Rose completely turn heel on Otis. And then Sonya Deville, also being slighted by this act, turns heel on Dolph Ziggler, and then you set up an intergender tag match and continue the storyline from there. That's what I would do.
I like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I tried to eat a cookie in between that, and I didn't have enough time. So if I sound like I'm eating a cookie, guys, I'm sorry. Chris, tell them about your middle name real quick so I can swallow.
My middle name is Ray. It was named after my mother's brother, whose name was also Ray, who passed away before I was born. But that is the origin of my middle name.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. All right. So Elias was singing a song. We kind of already talked about this. He was on that top level in the performance center that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano were fighting off of until they dropped off it and went through the announce table. And Elias was singing a song about Corbin, how he's a turd, really in the same exact fucking song that he's always done. Whatever. Anyways, he was attacked by Corbin afterwards, and there was a part where he hit him, and Elias looked like he was about to go over the edge by himself, and then he grabbed it, and Corbin literally came up and punched his hands until he fell, and then you see obviously Elias fall in the air, and then you don't see him hit the ground, and the EMTs and all the people there immediately rush it, and Corbin is looking down at his work and try to kill someone. So Chris, once again, Corbin tried to kill someone. What a dick.
Yeah. What an asshole, right? I mean, I don't hate Corbin. I think he's been overpushed. I'll say that right off the rip. He never has came off to me as the kind of guy that would kill a guy as a heel. He's more of like a swarmy asshole than a murderous psycho Sid type. But whatever, I guess they're going that route with him. I don't think it matters because I don't think fans actually care, even though he is like literally the only big time heel on SmackDown at this point.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, we had a replay. Oh, no, before that. So the good news and bad news. Good news is that we had a match with Alexa Bliss and Asuka, and we got to have Nikki Cross. This is just worth the match just to have this whole scenario again. We have Nikki Cross joining Michael Cole on commentary forcibly. She just comes over, grabs it, and he's like, what are you doing? Has anyone approved this? And the whole entire time, he's like freaked out from her because she keeps on like grabbing him and shaking his arm as Alexa's having a match and like screaming and punching her hand, because of the match going on. And it was pretty funny shit, just the interaction between the two of them, because he was like, will you stop touching me? Like I couldn't tell if it was real stuff. Like, do you not know that we're supposed to be like, social distancing? But Nikki didn't care, being her character. And Alexa Bliss ended up getting a win on Asuka. Bad news, but that is to set up the match with them for the tag titles. And it was a pretty good match between the two ladies. Alexa Bliss got the DDT on Asuka. Yeah, and the only thing I really care for, well, I hate putting that little asterisk next to Alexa, but I care more about interactions with Nikki and the two other ladies because I've seen her perform with the two of them, and they can, really punch it. But Alexa's good, but she's limited. She's more of a character, I would say. I think that's a nice way of saying that, Chris, right?
Yes. So right off the rip here, we went over this entire Mania card, which came out yesterday after SmackDown, and this match as a tag team women's title match was not on the card. I'm looking back at it and I just don't see it.
Oh.
Like, it's gonna be on the card, but I think that's what I'm getting at, is it's kind of just an afterthought, even to people that are writing out these cards, unfortunately.
Damn.
Now, what I will say is I thought Michael Cole was pretty good here. And in my mind, I just pictured what it would be like if Gorilla Monsoon was in this position. And then I was really sad.
And if George Animal Steel was doing commentary with them? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. That plus social distancing would have been fucking great. No, I mean, throwback, but I thought this was a fine match, and I think the tag match itself will be pretty good. I mean, there's good workers in there. Alexa's not bad by any means, and Nikki has shown that. I mean, when she was with Killian Dane and God, I can't even remember the other guy's name now. Eric Young and whoever the other guy was.
The guy that's on Imperium. Oh man, I can't remember either.
Yeah, because he's just part of Imperium.
Alexander Wolf. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. When they were a little unit, like she was doing cross body blocks against guys and shit, I was like, oh damn. But they haven't really given her a chance to shine, honestly, and she's been kind of just stuck as Alexa's friend or whatever. To me,
I
it makes
thought her
sense
and
that-
Asuka always perform really well together, so they should be able to have their chemistry like they normally do.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I said, Alexa Bliss isn't bad as long as she's not. And the thing is she's going to have good opponents to work against. So they're like just demolish her like most people do with Alexa Bliss for whatever reason. I guess it's because Alexa's small. People just try to murder her in the ring. Or maybe there's some heat that I don't know about, but like Charlotte, Sasha, like Sasha's not big by any means, but they just toss poor Alexa all over the place. That's probably why she has so many damn concussions, honestly. But going in there with Kerry and Asuka, they're going to take care of her. They'll probably have a good match. And my hope is that Asuka and Kerry have miscommunication. It starts a feud between them, and you just move the titles over to the best friends, so to speak, the Alexa and Nikki. And maybe they call themselves the BFFs and they do a hug in the middle of the ring, and Vince can get a shot back at AEW. Because I would do that. Because you know what? You're going to make fun of me? Fuck you guys. I'm going to make fun of your shit too.
You don't know I'm paid.
These are the best friends forever, motherfucker.
He's going to be.
Have you seen our weekly show?
It's awesome.
You could buy little necklaces. One says Nikki, the other one says Alexa.
BFF. Oh, God. All right. So, yeah, then they showed Roman Reigns Triple H from WrestleMania 32. Another match I haven't seen. So, you know, that's funny. I thought I watched the whole fucking – I thought I've watched every pay-per-view or every WrestleMania, but I guess I just missed this match. But it was actually a pretty good match. Very methodical, slow pace. But Triple H was the champion going in. Roman Reigns beat him. And, you know, kind of proving our point that Roman has been putting on good performances since, you know, kind of when he fucking started, honestly, in WWE, but, you know, people like to shit on him. But, yeah, did you like that choice for a match, Chris?
I feel kind of bad because I feel like they edited a lot of the show together before it actually went on TV, and then Roman immediately dipped out, so this match was irrelevant.
Yep, that's going to happen with the tag match at the end as well, so that's how it is. But Bray Wyatt... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that was a good match, and from what I recall, what Mania was that? 33? 32, okay. Yeah, and from what I remember, an okay Mania, right? Like, it wasn't great by any means. Triple H is very methodical, and Roman has gotten a lot better over the years, honestly. But a good storyline build up to that match, and the problem was they also did the same thing with Seth and John Cena beforehand. That authority shit, they just drove that to the ground. So a little bit of bitter memories, but it wasn't a bad match at all. It just sucks that Roman was also like, no, my doctor says probably not a good idea for me to be around all these fucking people.
Yeah, exactly. Bray Wyatt showed us the recipe for defeating John Cena, which included killing Ramblin' Rabbit in a blender and adding it. I forgot what he added together. It was actually very, very clever. He's good at this type of shit. But yeah, Ramblin' Rabbit was No, it was I don't know, like murder and something else, and like he had spices, but they were random bullshit. And then he just grabs Ramblin' Rabbit and throws him in there and blends him. Wyatt challenged Cena to a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. This could either be a fucking travesty, or if they let Bray be Bray, an awesome horror movie segment / match that actually could be a lot of fun. But I get worried with WWE. Who knows, though? John Cena, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, if you will, in a Firefly Funhouse match, Chris. Do you think this is going to be like Randy Orton and him at the Wyatt compound?
Well, I hope the fact that they channeled Tom Savini to help make the mask and some of the character, and you're going to do a horror thing, that you would just call Tom Savini and be like, here's all the fucking money, let's go do this. Yeah. And I said that when we were talking about they're taping it, like, okay. Tom Savini and Bray have a connection. Like, get there if you really want to do it. Like, I kind of want to see Bray as Sister Abigail in a weird fucking way, because they teased that before, and I think that would be a weird twist, right? I think there's a lot of cool things they could do with it. What we don't need is cockroaches on the ring, random abandoned houses, and if it's just a fight on the funhouse set and then a bunch of weird things happen and done good is the best way I could put it, great. But if it's that Randy Orton, we're gonna fight in this empty house and then eventually we'll end up in the ring kind of thing, I don't know. And like I said, you already had Tom Savini do the fucking mask. Like, if you're gonna do a horror thing, just he's right there. He's right there for you guys. I'm sure you guys could pay him to do this. They're probably playing Rob Gronkowski way more than what it would cost to get Tom Savini to make a very memorable WrestleMania moment in a time of need.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Just go real full horror into it. Make it a lot of fun. And add the elements of the Firefly Funhouse and add a lot of darkness to it. You know, maybe the fiend side of the Funhouse, if you will. I guess that would be in the haunted house portion, if you will. But they can make it really cool. John Cena knows how to act. That's one thing that Bray can do, is act creepy and dialogue and stuff like that. They're able to do multiple shots. They can kind of film it. This whole WrestleMania is going to be fucking wacky as shit. So just embracing that. Like you said, getting Tom Savini, getting someone that is incredible with horror, help out. I think it would be awesome. I'm just worried because even hearing great interview, by the way, if you guys haven't got a chance to listen to, with Chris Jericho, he talked to the former Luke Harper, Brody Lee. Luke Harper even said that originally they were pushing for the three of them in that match, which is a lot of what fans wanted, but that didn't happen. Randy Orton, they all wanted the three of them to be involved in that match for the title. He got kiboshed from that, but he even said that had nothing to do with Bray and Randy. That was, I think, Vince's idea, basically, with the fucking cockroaches and all that shit. Weird! That is what happened within that whole thing. So, ugh.
Yeah, I cannot see Bray and Randy sitting down and be like, okay, this is what we want to do in this match. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I have way more respect. I mean, I'm not the biggest Bray Wyatt fan, but his dad's a fucking legend, and the guy grew up in the wrestling business. I'm sure he didn't sit down at the table. He's like, and then we'll do some LED cockroaches. Like, he would not fucking do that. I have way more respect for both Bray and Randy to think that they fucking came up with that idea.
Ugh,
Same
so
thing
terrible.
with the stupid red light gimmick.
Yep.
In the mallets. Like, Bray Wyatt is haunted by other people telling him what to do, unfortunately.
Yep, I agree. All right, so we were talking about irrelevant matches. We have the Usos versus New Day, which no one ended up winning, but The Miz and John Morrison, they were on commentary. Some shit happened in interaction. Miz and John Morrison got involved in the match. It was thrown out. Michael Cole got word from the back saying that The Miz and Morrison were going to have to face both teams in a three-way ladder match next week. Now, either they already recorded that match or something else happened, because, like I said, it's looking like it could be a person from each team in a ladder match or some type of match for the tag titles. I don't know. It's so fucking weird. We'll find out next week, or we'll find out at Mania, I guess. But like I said, Miz is sick. It looked like, at least on that website, that maybe even the New Day's not even involved, which neither one of them, like I said, have been announced for anything. But I don't know what they're going to do. And my cat is right on my table right now, just knocking over shit like a jerk. What a jerk. How do you feel about this?
I really hope for Kofi and Morrison and one of the Usos, Jay or Jimmy, whichever one, because they're both great. So, like, Jay's just, I think Jay's a little more athletic and probably be more fun in the ladder match, but just give us a three-way match, and then whoever wins gets a title shot. If Morrison wins, no one gets a title shot. Do that. But obviously we don't know. It could, like you said, it could already be filmed. Who the fuck knows? It's just weird.
It's very weird, man. Very strange. All right, guys. Well, we got the super extra long edition because I forgot that we do this over Skype, so we can go into another topic. The last thing that we're going to be talking about. Last week, we made our Observing Wrestler Hall of Fame, and we went over and got singles wrestlers, from a choice of 20 wrestlers. We broke it down to 5, then added 5 to future lists when we add in more people. And we had 2 people added to the Hall of Shame. If you guys are curious, I'll break down that I kind of already told the wrestlers from beforehand. I'll tell you the ones that made our Hall of Fame. So in our Hall of Fame right now are Ric Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bull Nakano, and HBK Shawn Michaels. And our Hall of Shame is Disco Inferno and Lodi.
I just pulled Lodi out of the fucking air because I didn't know we were going to do a Hall of Shame. I should have known you were going to shit on Disco, but I had no idea we were going to do a Hall of Shame. Yeah, you and Disco got heat in real life, or at least on the internet.
I don't know, man. Like I
like
said,
that.
Unless one of his interns are that pathetic with his life that they get mad at people talking shit about Disco on the Keep It at 100 thing, but apparently Disco is a really great wrestling mind, Chris.
It shows who's more over in our tag team. My feud is with Goldberg. Your feud is with Disco Inferno.
God, and I kind of never mind. I'm not going to even say that. So, anyways, what we're going to try to do this week, we brought down to 5-5, but we realized we don't have any tag teams, so we're going to add 5 tag teams from the 10 that we have and do exactly what we did last week. I'm going to give you Chris's 5 and then my 5, and you can tell who was raised in the South and who was raised in the North just by the answers, including the names of the tag teams, since 2 of them have completely different names when they're in the WCW and NWA. But we have Chris is with the Midnight Express, Fabulous Freebirds, the Steiner Brothers, the Rock and Roll Express, and the Dudleys. And I have the Rockers, Demolition. I put LOD instead of the Road Warriors, the Hardy Boys, and I put the Brainbusters, which essentially is 2 of the guys, obviously, from the Four Horsemen, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. But, that's where we're raised. And I have gone back and I love the tag teams that he listed. I'm sure he's a big fan of some of the ones that I listed. But this should be a lot of fun, Chris. Are you excited about this? Do you like our list?
I absolutely love our list, and right off the bat, I'm going to suggest that the fucking Brainbusters should be in there because I didn't think of Tully and Arn, and I think they may be one of the greatest tag teams of all time, both promos and in-ring ability. Because if you look at like Midnight Express, for instance, who I think is great, I don't know that they're the same level of great outside of the ring without Cornette. So I'm just going to... I mean, as much shit as we give Cornette, as much shit as he gives... as much shit as he gives everybody, he's a big part of the Midnight Express, and like I said, Midnight Express fucking great, right? The Heavenly Body's fucking great. Like Jim Cornette and tag teams, they just fucking go together. There's lots of Jim Cornette shit we could put on a tag team list, but Tully and Arn. Like Arn and Tully cutting promos, man. Even to this day, Tully is still a fucking great promo, as we saw in AEW. I feel like they deserve to be on this list just because out of all of this group, unless you're looking at like the Rockers and I guess the Fabulous Freebirds, which is a weird promo thing because Freebird rules. They're definitely the best promos, and one of Arn's 2-time Hall of Famer at this point. So. WWE Hall of Famer. So I would suggest right off the bat, the Brainbusters or the 2 part of the Four Horsemen, Arn and Tully, to me, deserve to be in right off the rip.
All right, so let me get this straight. You want to make your case, and I actually agree with you, that the Brainbusters should be on the 5 that we have automatically. And it's funny because the only person that we did that last time is one other member of the Four Horsemen with Ric Flair. He kind of got our unanimous right off the bat. So, Oli, if you think you're ever getting on this fucking list anytime soon, we're going to have to go through a lot of goddamn people before we get to you. Sorry, buddy. We'll probably put Barry Windham on there before you.
Top 10 bookers. Can we do top 10 best botches? Because Oli is technically involved in Shockmaster.
Oh, God. Poor Tugboat. Oh, God.
Yes, I know.
Shit in a stick.
Ric Flair. He fell on his ass. That's the best. Fucking best.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, I don't think you're real wrestling fans. So, oh, my God.
Fucking Sid just trying to look intimidating after this guy tripped over. And Ric Flair in the background just going, "Oh God." And then knowing it's Tugboat afterwards makes it even funnier because, like, Rick, Dusty, Tugboat. Like, what did Cody call him? Cody called him Uncle. God, I can't think of Tugboat's real name. The Shark's real name. A former professional sumo wrestler, by the way. I just can't think of his fucking name right now.
Dude,
It's
he was, and maybe he'll be a future tag team we talk about, because the Natural Disasters in the 90s was one of my favorites with him and Earthquake. Him and John Tenta together were fucking awesome. And
Cody talking about it as a child. He called him Uncle Fred. He was like, "Was that Uncle Fred?"
oh god, that shit's so funny though.
Yes.
I'm sure Dusty was like, "God damn it, baby! No, God, what the fuck? Holy, stop talking, bitch!"
Dusty talking about it is the best because he's like, I said, "Get something like a Star Wars helmet, not a Star Wars helmet."
They spray painted it. Oh my god, I love it. God, just wrestling. My lord.
I'm just gonna go ahead and put that entire thing into the Hall of Fame right now, with no votes necessary. Great shit ever.
What was the name of the character? I can't think of it for the top of my head.
The Shockmaster.
Oh,
Sting,
God, yeah.
Sting gives him this big intro. He's like, "He's gonna shock the world." Like, Shockmaster. I can't even.
I can't breathe. All right, so let me get this straight.
If you haven't seen this,
definitely look it up. If you guys haven't seen the Shockmaster, that whole fucking video is just absolutely ridiculous. It's one of the worst. Or Abdullah the Butcher getting fried in the fucking cage match. God damn. Like back then, WWE or WWF at the time and WCW, I think, were trying to fight on who had the dumbest gimmicks for a short period of time. Like from 90 to 92, some of the dumbest things. Or not even 90 to 92, like 93, 94. Ugh.
Man. Yeah, we're going to have to do...
It's not even hot.
It's not hot. We're going to have to do our top 5 favorite
WrestleCrafts?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, man, I love that website.
Let's call it So Bad It's Good. We'll have a... Next
They're not in the Hall of Shame. They're not in the Hall of Shame, but they're so bad they're good. Like that triple cage that WCW used to do too. What the fuck was that? Everyone on there, like, could you imagine Arn Anderson like, "So you want me to get my fat ass up there and stand on fucking cage and just like try to wrestle? Like, how the fuck does that work?"
It's like 3 feet wide.
Chain link. Just chain link. Oh, man. And I ate it up when I was a kid. All right. So getting back on track to make sure, we're saying Brainbusters go, and you want to get rid of the Midnight Express as of right now to, we don't have to think of them when we're cutting this down.
I don't want to say get rid of them because I think there's some other people maybe we could work out of getting rid of before them. But I will say out of this list, if you look at the body of work, Tully and Arn's really hard to fucking pass up as a tag unit. I feel like they, there's some great tag teams on this list, man. But some of them went on to be better singles competitors than tag teams, whereas like Tully and Arn to me is fucking, if you're a tag team, you should aim to be Tully and Arn. In fact, there's a tag team called the Revival whose contract should be up soon. It just aimed to be Tully and Arn, essentially.
Oh, dude, Arn Anderson's already talked about if you got a chance to be their manager. I think he fantasized over it from the way he talks about them. So give them to Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and let them fucking help them out a little bit. And I don't know. I kind of still want them to show up on NWA, actually. I think that would be awesome. They're kind of built for it,
Yeah, there's one of the tag teams on our list that has recently showed up on NWA in AEW.
God, you know what? I want to say, I'm going to pull what you pulled right now and say that the Rock and Roll Express automatically goes to the top. And I'm going to give the option to, and as much as I love them, but kind of what you're basing saying, I think the Rockers are amazing. I love the Rockers. I love their matches with, it doesn't matter if it was the Heart Foundation or Demolition or their awesome matches with the Brainbusters. They kind of were, I'm assuming Vince couldn't get the Rock and Roll Express, so he made his own one. And as much as I love Shawn Michaels and think he's amazing, I can live without them going in the Hall of Fame this round.
Yeah, and I mean, HBK already got his credentials anyways, right? he's already in their normal Hall of Fame. And also, they did almost kill a guy, to be fair. Like, WWE legitimately got sued because they broke a guy's neck. And the rest of the tag teams, I don't know any of that. Maybe the Dudleys, but they probably had, like, Big Dick Dudley bury him behind the arena or whatever. So if you're in Philly, check that out. No, I agree with you. I think, damn, now it's going to get hard, though, because Rock and Roll Express is in there, Brainbusters are in there, and we have... I'll just spit it out. I'll say the teams that I think are, to me, and I think all of these teams will eventually get in because they all deserve to be in our Hall of Fame. But if we're cutting it down to 5, the 4 that I think we have to kind of argue about: Midnight Express, Fabulous Freebirds, the Steiner Brothers, and to me personally would be Legion of Doom, aka the Road Warriors.
See, the thing is, this is kind of a difference of, I have gone back, but I didn't actually see that much of P.S. Hayes until he was whatever the fuck terrible gimmick name Vince gave him.
And then the Hardys, the Hardys. Funny enough, another team on this list.
Forgot what the hell his name is. But I will say, though, to me, I don't want to argue this out, but even though they were kind of a knockoff, same thing, I don't think Vince at the time could get Legion of Doom, or I should say the Road Warriors, so he made Demolition. But still, it's like Demolition had that record for such a long fucking time, and they used to have badass, just brawler matches with so many of the great tag teams, and then ending pretty much against their feud with LOD. God damn it.
But also it's WW. It's also Vince McMahon, right? It's the WWF tag syndrome where there's like just a bunch of random, like the bodacious dudes or whatever the fuck. Like,
yeah, but I'm thinking about them and the Brainbusters and them and the whatchamacallit, the Heart Foundation and another.
I don't know that Tully and Arn ever worked Demolition.
They did.
Did they? Okay. I could be wrong on that. Because Tully and Arn didn't necessarily come over when Rick came over in '92 from WCW.
No, weren't they there beforehand?
Possibly. We're digging deep. I'm digging deep into the brain right now on this. Yeah, I'm not going to say they did.
Here's the thing. Now that I'm thinking about this, they did go against it back in '89. But I remember that match. I'll just say the Demolition, I don't think are going to get in at the end anyways. So maybe it's really a point. So there's 3. I think LOD is a no-brainer. Out of the 2 young teams, I don't know if you agree with me, but I would say Hardys over Dudleys.
Yeah, well, I right before the show, I subbed Dudleys for damn, never mind. No, I can't think of it. I subbed them for Road Warriors, but you already had Road Warriors on your list, so I guess the Dudleys stay here. And I think both those tag teams definitely will get in and deserve to be in. The Dudleys have won tag team championships everywhere. Everywhere you could win a belt, they won them, except for WCW, which was extinct.
Yeah, it's like them and the Hardys have some of the... They have gone on to have titles and fucking ridiculous.
It's almost... The thing about the Hardys, though, is that it's great that they're still brothers and together, but some of their best shit is when they're apart, which makes you sad. Outside of those TLC matches, I mean, they had good tag matches, and it's really fun to see them work together. It was great to see them work a team that we've already thrown in there, the Rock and Roll Express, in a ladder match, like fucking
Yeah.
the 3 years ago or whatever that was. They're great, man. I mean, I would almost go Hardy's over Steiner Brothers.
I'm going to suggest to you, and if you don't want to do this, we don't have to. For the last three, to kind of like wrap things up a bit, how about we do LOD, the Hardys, and the Steiners?
So the full list looks like what? Rock and Roll,
Brainbusters, it would be Steiners, LOD, Hardy Brothers. Unless you think and you want to put forth an argument that the Fabulous Freebirds, which is one of your last choices, should be over any of those other teams.
I mean, they should be over all those teams, but just because Bad Street USA and that Freebird Road song I sent you earlier, the fact that Terry Gordy is one of the greatest big men to ever work in the fucking sport, and definitely one of the best tag wrestlers I've ever seen in my life, and watching the Fabulous Freebirds in action is fucking great. The only downfall is that they just wrestled the Von Erichs for fucking ever. So you could get really good if you have the same dance partner for a long period of time.
Is that why it happens at WWE? Does Michael PSAs go, hey, why you guys do the same match? It'll be great.
Y'all heard my new single, Freebird Road? Make sure to check it out. Been hanging out with this guy named Joe Exotic. I'm okay. I love Fabulous Freebirds, and it's specifically Terry Gordy. I think Terry Gordy's fucking great. And Michael PSA's was a fucking, just at that peak of shit bag asshole heel. I think he nailed it. And obviously they made a lot more money than some of the fucking teams on this list, according to Michael PSA's at least. Had to get the rib joke in there. I think we have a solid list. I'm okay with pushing Fabulous Freebirds further down the road, but I don't think it'll be that much further.
All right, I'm calculating everything.
You got one of those TX-83s, Texas Instrument style?
Yeah.
Are you just playing Doom right now? Don't lie and say you're not playing Doom.
I'm not, man. Can you hear me doing it?
Yes.
All right, yeah. So we have for the list now: Brainbusters, the Rock and Roll Express, the Hardy Boys, Steiner Brothers, and the Road Warriors. And I will remove them. And that is the fun thing about this: is once we do this, we got to remove them and figure out five tag teams, Chris, instead to be added to this. So that's even harder because I don't think. Rock and Roll Express, that was it.
Well, I give you one right off the rip for me. It's because we're going to add 5 together, right?
Yep.
The Funks.
The Funks.
I will also throw out there one that we didn't talk about, but Edge and Christian.
Edge and Christian. Yeah, it's kind of, they have to be up there. All right, there's 3 more choices. Let me see. I'm tempted. I don't know. You might think I'm crazy, but they're one of my favorite novelty tag teams. Should we include novelty tag teams or no?
I mean, I think it's whoever you think is the best tag team, and then we'll have a discussion afterwards. Because I mean, I think it's not like we're gonna be like, oh, Jack and Jerry Briscoe, we should put them on the fucking list. No, this is our Hall of Fame. We can put whatever we want on it.
All right, I want to put the Rock and Sock Connection.
Great tag team.
I love that gimmick.
I will submit an idea, and you can shoot this down. But I think that I don't necessarily think their in-ring work was the best, but the Outsiders.
I like that.
And Nash.
And my last one I'll suggest for this is Harlem Heat.
Oh, God, that's such an obvious one. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
All right. You know
Damn
what
it,
I'm
we
about
didn't
to
even get
suggest?
my next one was going to be Steve Williams and Ted DiBiase, but now we're
We'll
getting
get
into
him
some
in there.
old shit.
We'll get them in there. Still, I mean, 10 teams that we have that are possibilities right now, the nominations, if you will. Midnight Express, Fabulous Freebirds, the Funk Brothers, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the Rockers, Demolition, the Rock and Sock Connection, the Outsiders, and Harlem Heat. Pretty damn good, I would say.
It's a stacked ass list. And now I'm
All right.
thinking about what I'm going to eliminate next week, and also very sad about it already.
Well, this is the part where we add someone to the Hall of Shame, man. We need a tag team. I need a tag team. We need a tag team.
Ding and Dong. The Ding Dongs.
There's a tag team called the Ding Dongs?
Yes.
Holy fuck.
I'm trying to remember. It was a WWE tag team. Yeah, the Ding Dongs. And that was one of God, what was the good Jim? That was Cowboy Jim Herd idea. Also taking away top ropes. He had some good ideas if you were booking wrestling in the 60s. But yes, the Ding Dongs, Ding and Dong. I think I don't know what tag team you have lined up for worst tag team ever, but I can feel pretty good about Ding and Dong being the worst.
God, if we could do a faction, I'd pick those goddamn cheerleaders. That Dolph Ziggler unfortunately had to be a part of it. You know what I'm going to pick?
Worst faction.
God, this is kind of because I don't think either Scotty Riggs or Buff Bagwell were bad. And individually, Buff Bagwell, I mean, if we do this for a very long time, probably could come up as someone that we put on this list, I guess. But the American Males were a fucking terrible tag team. It's ridiculous.
It's mostly because of the theme song, though, not necessarily
American Males, American Males, American Males. I can't.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to put them on this shame list.
All right, well,
really, what about the fucking what was the one that Johnny Ace was in with Shane Douglas?
Oh, the Surfers. Oh my God, What the hell was the name? Dynamic Dudes. Yeah, that's it. All right, before the American Males, and like I said, if we ever add them to that list, it's not for their individual performances, but a terrible fucking music and everything else. But I agree with you. Dynamic Dudes. Holy hell.
Dynamic Dudes, way worse gimmick. I mean, both good in-ring wrestlers, but way worse gimmick-wise. If you're like, you have to go be the American Male, I'd be like, all right, I can be the American Male, I guess. If you're like, you gotta like wear shitty neon, way outside of it being cool, and skateboard down to the ring when you don't know how to skateboard. God,
I'm looking up a picture. They look fucking so stupid.
They look way worse than the American Males, even with that shitty theme song. They're just there's a lot of bad tag teams. We could just we could just go ahead and add the American Males if you want.
Just no, we don't have to do that.
Okay. I mean, that's the thing is like Shane Douglas and Johnny Ace in Japan, he was pretty fucking good in the ring, and Shane Douglas was great in ECW and even some of his stuff in WCW. But like, man, that's like the night. That's like the you just got shit on with a gimmick. Like,
oh man, I think future ones think about New Age Outlaws, Heart Foundation. It's gonna be a lot of fun ones to talk about.
Oh,
Natural disasters
for good tag teams.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was like, no, we don't want the listeners to get mad.
I'll even say I remember the Colossal Connection with fucking Haku and Andre the Giant. That was a badass tag team back in the day. But we'll have fun with this, I think. Like we've had fun with the other stuff that we did. But I think that's it, man. I think that's a show.
Yeah, I think it is. I will say, everyone, hit us up on Twitter. You can hit me at Chris R. Patton. or on Facebook at Christopher.R.Patton. And give us some of your recommendations for shitty tag teams or good tag teams or great singles competitors, because we would like to, even if we have to subtract some people, to add in some of your suggestions. If they're good enough to make the list, then it's good enough for the discussion, and you can agree or disagree. And give us your feedback, what you think. We'd love to hear it. Skates Throats, it's going to be coming out Monday, more than likely, and we're going to try to just keep this thing rolling. Everybody be safe, and man, just have a great weekend. Dane, you also have a great weekend, and take over for me because I'm running out of words.
Well, running out of words. Well, I'll add some to it. You guys have a great evening and a great weekend. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. Remember, we'll be back. Probably have a show out, like next Friday and, Saturday. So enjoy your weekend with some shows for Wrestling Geeks Alliance. We love doing these shows for you guys. And in the meantime, in between time, have a good one. That's all I got. Peace out. Let the Geek Vibes be with you. Just kidding.